Unexpectedly traversing the turbulent three kingdoms, how can one be content with mediocrity and inaction? Watching the young Ding Wei, with his iron shoulders shouldering great responsibilities, and his white horse stepping on the edge and hammering, staging a heroic epic. Collecting famous generals, recruiting strategists, traversing the end of the Han Dynasty, seeking revenge for the family, driving out foreign invaders, and forging military souls with iron and blood. Heroes with lofty aspirations, achieving eternal emperors, beautiful and gentle, leaving a lasting legacy. Main characters. Ding Wei, Kai Yan. Keywords of the novel. White Horse Roaring Three Kingdoms with no pop-ups. Download the complete TXT collection of White Horse Roaring Three Kingdoms, and read the latest chapters of White Horse Roaring Three Kingdoms. Chapter 1. The Initial Formation of Double English. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Two mountains sandwiched by a canyon, with beautiful vegetation, a small river flows slowly through the valley. On the riverbank, there is a thatched cottage. Behind the thatched cottage, there are two horses, a white horse and a Juju-bred horse, leisurely grazing on the grass. In front of the thatched cottage, there was a table, with two 15 or 16-year-old boys sitting opposite each other. In front of them were a silver spear and a pair of carved bows, with feather arrows inserted into the arrow pot. Brother Z, please. Brother Cheng'en, please. The two of them picked up the glasses in front of them and drank them all in one gulp. At this moment, the two servants standing behind them quickly served incense tables and poured them a new glass of wine. The two teenagers picked up their glasses again, stood up together, faced the incense table, and knelt down on both knees. I'm Ding Wei, Ding Cheng'en. I am Taisher Ci, Taisher Z. Today we become brothers with different surnames. The two of them said at the same time, we share blessings and difficulties. We do not expect to be born on the same day or month in the same year, but rather die on the same day or month in the same year. If we violate this oath, heaven and earth will perish. The two of them picked up their glasses, drank them all in one gulp, and then slammed them onto the ground, laughing heartily. Cheerful laughter echoed in the valley. What a familiar scene, but not a familiar person. However, the time and location of the famous Lu Guanzhong Taoyuan triple entanglement in history are very similar. This is a valley in the Beihai county of Qingzhou in 183 AD, the 6th year of the Guanhe reign of Emperor Ling of Han. Tai Shirzi, I believe everyone is familiar with it. At the end of the Eastern Han Dynasty, a famous general of Eastern Wu, skilled in archery and horsemanship, bravely led the three armies. He first served under Liu Yao and then followed Sun Tzu, repeatedly achieving military achievements, and was promoted to the position of commander of Jianchang. General Liu Pan of Jingzhou had the ability to pull mountains and exceptional martial arts skills. No one in the Jiangdong region could defeat him, but only Taisher Xining fought against Liu Pan. Therefore, Taisher Xining stayed in the south until he died of illness. Who is Ding Wei? This name is still very unfamiliar, so we need to start from scratch. Ding Yuan, the governor of Bingzhou, repeatedly made military achievements in resisting foreign invasions. However, due to a lack of knowledge in poetry and books, although it was expensive as a governor, it was not accepted by scholars at that time. Therefore, he sent his only son, Ding Wei, to Beihai County and became a disciple of Kong Rong in Gongyou. Although Kong Rong was only in his 30s at this time, he was also a 20th-generation descendant of Confucius due to his rescue of Zhang Jian, and his name as a scholar had long been renowned in the Central Plains. He Bianrong and Tao Gui are collectively known as the Three Heroes and have had a significant influence among scholars. However, what people do not know is that Ding Wei, who was sworn in with Tai Shirzi at this time, was not the original Ding Wei. Ding Wei, a Chinese language student from a certain normal university in China in the 21st century, had a hobby of outdoor sports and made plans to climb Mount Hua with several classmates. Unfortunately, he stumbled and fell, but his soul traveled back to the end of the Eastern Han Dynasty. He was also named Ding Wei and died from a cliff fall. It has been a full 3 months since Ding Wei's journey. He has also gone from being initially restless and fearful, to later calm, and now, becoming particularly excited. At the end of the Eastern Han Dynasty, it was a tragic era where the people were struggling to survive, but at the same time, it was a great era where talented people emerged. As a top student in the Chinese department, he is familiar with such an era. And as the Grand Prince Ding Yuan, the governor of Bingzhou, he was also excited about his identity. What excited him even more was that he had formed a different surname brother with the famous general Taisher Ci from the end of the Eastern Han Dynasty. They were both born in 167 AD, and he became Taisher Ci's elder brother. In history, if Ding Wei had not died unexpectedly, he should have achieved some success. Just because he met Taisher Ci, it shows the problem. Now, Ding Wei has just found a bargain. Ding Wei now understands why Ding Yuan chose Lv Bu as his adopted son. He turned out to be his only son, who died unexpectedly at the age of only 17. Seeing Lu Bu, who was talented and exceptionally brave, it was only then that he developed a liking for him. Unfortunately, he couldn't recognize people accurately. It seems that in this lifetime, Ding Yuan will no longer accept Lv Bu as his adopted son, and Lv Bu will also lose the nickname of a 3-surname family slave. The Eastern Han Dynasty, I'm here. The 3 kingdoms, I'm here. He shouted in his heart, not knowing why he was excited, but he understood that he didn't have a clear goal in his heart yet. He was determined to change this tragic world of 100 people left behind, one heart-wrenching thought, as if there was one thing, to prevent the tragedy of the 5 barbarians in China from happening, which happened in a certain year or month. Building a strong and prosperous dynasty with over 1900 years of knowledge and experience. This is too big. In his past life, he was just a college student and just wanted to find a stable job in the future. How could he have such a big ideal? However, being a famous general or scholar is still possible. Of course, one can indulge in the beauty of the 3 kingdoms, which is necessary. The beauties of these 3 kingdoms include Jiaochan, Kaiyan, Shaoqiao, Zhenmi. But then again, this chaotic world is coming soon. Without strength, I'm afraid I won't even be able to save my life. What kind of beauty would I think of? Now, what I'm thinking about is how to recruit famous generals and strategists. As a vassal, it seems like we're going to compete for power again. It's a headache, so why don't you think about it for now? Take a step by step, and there must be a way to get to the front of the mountain. As night fell, Tai Shirzi and Ding Wei, both slightly intoxicated, were lying in the tent with their clothes on. Although it is March in sunny spring, the weather in Beihai still feels like deep winter, with no flowers but cold. Woo! In the middle of the night, suddenly the Yin wind howled in anger, as if 1,000 soldiers and horses were coming to kill them. Both of them woke up from their dreams and jumped up. Ding Wei held a bright silver spear in his hand, and Tai Shirzi took off his bow and arrow, and both of them rushed out of the house at the same time. In the darkness, I could only feel the cold wind blowing on my face like a sword, causing immense pain. The wind was mixed with stones and dead branches. Ding Wei waved his spear and shot away the stones and dead branches that were attacking the 2 of them. Roar! A deep tiger roar came from the wind. Young master, be careful, there's a fierce tiger, a servant exclaimed in surprise. Ding Wei and Tai Shirzi looked sideways at the same time, only to see a huge and colorful tiger charging towards them with thunderous sounds. 2 BMWs let out a long hiss and took a few steps back. The 2 servants were already engaged in 2 battles and couldn't help themselves. Ding Wei had never seen such a formation before. Although he had seen tigers in his past life, they were just sick cats in the zoo, and his body trembled a bit. Good day, beast. Look at the arrow. Taisher Ci finished speaking and immediately shot an arrow. Ding Wei looked at it and immediately calmed down. With Taisher Ci around, what kind of tiger are they afraid of? Fortunately, no one noticed the embarrassment just now, otherwise his image would have been ruined. So he shook his hand and made a standard javelin throwing motion, which was exceptionally beautiful. The shiny silver spear in his hand was also like a long snake, quickly attacking the tiger. With two miso sounds, the arrow and gun, carrying flames, fiercely pierced into the tiger's iron body. Brushing. A lightning bolt illuminated the world, followed by a thunderous explosion, as if it was about to shatter the earth. In the sound of thunder and lightning, Ding Wei and Tai Shi seemed as if two heavenly gods had descended to earth and remained steadfast. The fierce tiger lay 2 zhang away in front of them, still motionless. The wind stopped, the valley returned to calm, the dark clouds gradually dissipated, the bright moon was like frost, and the weather in the north changed very quickly. Ha! Ding Wei and Tai Shi laughed at each other, ignoring the fierce tiger and the 2 servants who were still in fear. They held hands and walked back into the tent, sleeping together. As if a thunderbolt from last night woke up all things, when the first ray of sunlight in the morning shone into the valley, the grass secretly crawled out of the ground and finally saw the footprints of spring. Ding Wei had already woken up early, but he was still lying on the thatched bed, with countless thoughts in his heart. It is now March 183 AD, and there are still 11 months left until the historical Yellow Turban Uprising. Although he does not want to think too much, the Yellow Turban Uprising will still arrive as scheduled. If not prepared at that time, everything will be empty. What should we do? Before the Yellow Turban Uprising, he had to obtain the position of prefect of a region by holding the position of filial piety and honesty, and at the very least, he had to become a county magistrate of a region. During the Yellow Turban Uprising, one could respond to the call of the court, recruit soldiers, and make military achievements in order to gain the support of aristocratic families and the support of future famous scholars. With the addition of his father, the governor of Bingzhou, he can stand invincible in the future chaotic times. Because he understood that in the late Eastern Han Dynasty, the power of aristocratic families was greater than that of the court. Without the support of aristocratic families, success would never have been possible, but now, he needs time. So during these 11 months, he must have 2 things to do. First, to improve his reputation and meet heroes and famous scholars from all over the country. Second, to make a name for Luoyang and gain recognition from the court and aristocratic families. He vaguely has some goals in mind. Young master, young master. Ding Wei was thinking about how to go in the future when suddenly a servant shouted loudly. Ding Wei and Tai Shi jumped up at the same time. What's going on? Young master, come out and take a look. The 2 of them walked out of the thatched cottage at the same time and stared intently. In front of them, there was a stone the size of a bison, and on the stone, a feather arrow and a silver spear were deeply inserted. Arrow is the arrow shot by Tai Shi, and the gun is Ding Wei's shiny silver gun. The 2 servants were sweating profusely, apparently attempting to draw arrows and guns, but without success. Ding Wei and Tai Shi laughed heartily at the sight, took a step forward, and drew arrows and guns respectively. Big brother, good marksmanship. Second brother, good arrow technique. Ha! The 2 of them burst out laughing again. Big brother, this situation and this scene should be revealed, said Tai Shi. Okay. The 2 raised their glasses and drank them all in one gulp. After finishing his drink, Ding Wei threw his glass and loudly said, Second brother, let's write a poem about this scene. Tai Shi arched his hand and said, Big brother's literary talent is beyond my reach. Could you please compose a poem for me? I'm all ears. Okay. Ding Wei shouted okay and took a step forward. The forest is dark and the grass is startled by the wind. The young man bows at night. While searching for white feathers, he is not among the stone ridges. Okay, okay, okay. Tai Shi said repeatedly, and his gaze towards Ding Wei changed. In his heart, he admired this big brother so much that he was truly skilled in both literature and martial arts. In the future, it will be comparable to a generation of Confucian generals like Lu Ji. Although he doesn't know how to write poetry, he can appreciate it. Ding Wei secretly chuckled and said to himself, can poetry from over 400 years later be good? Lu Luan, don't blame me, who made me give birth more than 400 years earlier than you. Second brother, in today's world, only you are worthy of this poem. Ding Wei looked at Tai Shirzi and was pleased, so he continued to compliment. Tai Shirzi was overjoyed in his heart. He had always aspired to become a famous general since he was young. These words clearly touched his heart, but his mouth was still shifting the blame, where, big brother praised me. From then on, the name of Tai Shirzi arrow did not spread, but the reputation of Ding Wei's generation of Confucian generals spread throughout the entire Beihai County. Chapter 2. Shocking Four Towers. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Young master, Beihai would like to invite you over. Ding Wei was practicing his gun when suddenly a servant rushed over and said. Since his travels, Ding Wei has been practicing martial arts early and reading poetry in books late, persevering. He understood that in times of chaos, to survive, one must be strong on their own. As the saying goes, it is better to be a peaceful dog than a chaotic person, and human life is like grass mustard. Fortunately, the owner of this body has good martial arts skills. Being able to draw with Tai Shirzi during the Three Kingdoms period can be considered a first-class military general. What excites him even more is that the power is immense, which is not an exaggeration in terms of innate divine power. However, he soon realized that in this era, literati held a much higher position than warriors. Take Tai Shirzi as an example. Since he wrote that poem, he has truly admired his literary talent. If he continues like this, the hundreds of Tang poems he has in his heart, I don't know how many people he wants to impress. Do you think it's okay to review without reviewing? This morning, Kong Rong called him over. I don't know what's going on. To be honest, he doesn't want to learn from Kong Rong those classics and historical works. If it's a prosperous era, Confucianism can govern the world, but a chaotic era is about to come. Can Confucianism stop those swords and spears? Kong Rong couldn't even save himself. Talking about saving the world, in modern terms, is called empty talk of harming the country. And more importantly, as an undergraduate student in the Chinese department, I am already very familiar with that knowledge and have a set of new concepts. Learning those outdated things now is a waste of time, isn't it? But then again, in this era, the most important thing is the name, and this name, Kong Rong, can bring him, which is why he has to work hard to learn. Contemporary Confucian scholars, at the very least, are also graduate supervisors. No matter how capable one is, they are still just elementary school students. It's not enough to be humble. When Ding Wei arrived at Kong Rong's guest room, he found that Kong Rong was receiving guests. A scholar in white clothes, about 50 years old, with graying hair, was kneeling directly above him. Across from Kong Rong sat a scholar in his 30s dressed in blue. People in this era tend to look older and tend to grow beards, and these two individuals are no exception. However, the spirit and spirit of literati are still good, and a pair of eyes give people a feeling of vitality. Sir, I would like to greet you, my disciple. Ding Wei gave Kong Rong a disciple's salute, and in the past few months, he has also become accustomed to these formalities. People under the eaves have to bow their heads. He would say in his heart every time he saluted. I don't know what Kong Rong would feel if he knew. Kong Rong watched as Ding Wei finished his salute and smiled, saying, Thank you, I will introduce you to two great scholars of the time. Are you the current great scholars again? Ding Wei thought, why are there so many current great scholars? It seems that these two people must be quite different. Let's hear who they are. This is Zheng Xiankong Qinggong, Kong Rong said, pointing to the old man in white clothes kneeling directly above. Zheng Xiankong becomes a duke. Ding Wei couldn't help but exclaim in surprise. Ha ha ha. The three of them looked at each other with a smile. Kong Qinggong, it seems that your name has scared my disciple. Indeed, Ding Wei did not expect that the old man in front of him was the famous Jing Xian and Jing Kongqing. Jing Xian was a famous Confucian and Confucian master in the late Eastern Han Dynasty. Moreover, he was upright and had a noble character. He refused to serve due to dissatisfaction with corruption in the officialdom. Even during the Tang and Song dynasties, Jing Xian was a model for literati. As a student of Chinese, I am very familiar with this, and it seems that being called a great scholar of the time is not wrong. I've seen Kong Qinggong before, kid. Ding Wei quickly bowed deeply. You should know that in this era, etiquette is highly valued. To become an official is to recommend and uphold filial piety and integrity. Of course, buying officials was already very popular in the court at this time, but that was something that literati despised. If a person is rumored to be ignorant of etiquette, then their reputation is ruined. Moreover, Ding Wei has a genuine respect for Jing Xian. A person who is fearless of power, righteous and upright in character is always respected by others. No gift, no gift. Jing Xian smiled slightly, Wenju. Your disciple is extraordinary, and your future prospects are limitless. Congratulations on accepting a good disciple. Where? Kong Rong also smiled contentedly, pointing to the young scholar kneeling across from him. This is Yuan Gong. The kid has met the Duke of Yuan. Ding Wei saluted and quickly searched for his memory. The word Yuan seemed familiar to him, but who was it? No need to be polite. This is Brother Wenju's family banquet, so I don't think everyone needs to be restrained. Thank you, you can come and sit too. The scholar smiled and said. Oh, it's Guan Ning. Ding Wei remembered. Compared to Jing Xian, Ding Wei no longer had the previous surprise towards Guan Ning. Of course, Guan Ning can definitely live up to the 4 words of a great scholar in the world. He, together with Hua Xian and Bing Yuan, is known as Ilong, and Guan Ning is also from Beihai. Ding Wei knelt down at the head. Although Guan Ning said there was no need to be restrained, Ding Wei still felt extremely uncomfortable. In addition to this half-written way of talking, kneeling also made him extremely uncomfortable. In addition, the fame of these two people was indeed great. If there was anything inappropriate about him, it would obviously be detrimental to him once it was spread. Today it seems that Kong Rong intends to let Jing Xian take the exam for Ding Wei, which is exactly to Ding Wei's taste. In his past life, he was a top student in the Chinese language department and had great insights into the literature of the pre-Qin and Han dynasties. In addition to studying here with Kong Rong during this period, I answered Jing Xian's questions very appropriately, mixed with some of my own insights. This made Kong Rong very satisfied, even Guan Ning and Jing Xian kept nodding and smiling. Even some insights surprised the three of them, were novel, and made sense. You know, that's the crystallization of over 2,000 years of wisdom. Ding Wei felt smug and even said wickedly in his heart, little sample, you know my strength. I heard that Cheng'en's poetry is also well written. What kind of good poetry do you have for us to see? Zheng Xuanqing spoke seriously and then talked about poetry from the text. No, Kong Qinggong. Ding Wei pretended to evade, but was immediately interrupted by Guan Ning. Thank you, it's not acceptable not to give us a few poems you wrote today. We only came after listening to your gift to son. The gift of a son. Ding Wei felt happy in his heart. He casually plagiarized a song called The Song of the Frontier and won the reputation of a generation of Confucian generals. In such an occasion, if he didn't show his hand, he would also be sorry for his time travel. You don't know, I have hundreds of good poems in my belly, really full of knowledge. Don't be too quick, just adapt to the situation and resort to different tactics. He was afraid of losing his pride, so he immediately calmed down and set the tone for his response today. The forest is dark and the grass is startled by the wind. The young man bows at night. While searching for white feathers, he is not among the stone ridges. Guan Ning read the poem once. Kong Qinggong, could you give me some feedback? Ding Wei didn't know that his poem, Gift to Sun, is now well known in Beihai County. Okay. Let me tell you, I have already appreciated this poem. When I first read it, I already felt that it was fresh and refined, with a lofty artistic conception and a natural beauty. It is truly a masterpiece. Kong Qinggong is too proud of this kid. Kong Rong said, but he smiled happily. Cheng'an, may I know if there will be any poetry recently? Ding Wei's mind spun rapidly and he immediately had an idea. Sir, the day before yesterday you asked your disciple to write a letter to seal the family. The disciple wrote a poem and was preparing to send it to his mother. I would like to invite Sir, Duke Kongcheng, and Duke Yuan to point it out. Originally, a few days ago, Kong Rong wrote a letter to Ding Jianyang and also asked Ding Wei to deliver a letter to his family. Ding Wei pondered hard and didn't know how to write. In his mind, the image of his parents in this life was very blurry. At this moment, he remembered his parents in his previous life. How painful it would be to learn that he had fallen off a cliff and died. But he is powerless. So he wrote Meng Jiao's Ode to the Wandering Sun in Liudi regular script and prepared to take it back as a family letter, which happened to come in handy now. Ding Wei asked his servant to take the finished poem and carefully handed it to Kong Rong. After Kong Rong unfolded it, he read, A kind mother has thread in her hand, and a wandering son has a shirt on his body. Before leaving, there are dense seams, and I am afraid I will return late. Who says that an inch of grass in the heart brings back the light of spring? After Kong Rong finished reading, there was suddenly silence in the living room. After a moment, Jing Xian shouted 3 good words in a row. Good. 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 He stood up and took the poem from Kong Rong's hand. The language is simple, the emotions are pure, and the heart of filial piety leaps onto the paper. Although it is not magnificent, it is profound. Good poetry. Kong Qinggong, you only focus on appreciating poetry. Look at this character. Guan Ning had also leaned in and pointed to the character written by Ding Wei. At this moment, Kong Rong and Jing Xian finally noticed Ding Wei's character, which was a neatly crafted willow body. Of course, they did not recognize it. Powerful and proud, with a strong character. Jing Xian said. With profound skills and noble character. Guan Ning said. Ding Wei did not expect that his handwriting would receive such high praise from 2 great scholars in the late Eastern Han Dynasty. He is now very satisfied in his heart. You should know that poetry is plagiarism, but the words are gradually practiced by him. In his past life, he put in a lot of effort to practice these words well, and now he has finally achieved results. Kong Qinggong and Yuan Gong, you have praised the young man falsely. I really don't deserve it. Ding Wei bowed to the two and pretended to be humble, but in fact, his heart had already blossomed with joy. I didn't expect me to be so talented. Jing Xian looked at Ding Wei and said to Kong Rong, Wenju, congratulations to you for teaching such a master. I didn't expect Governor Ding to have such a qilin. He must be a rare talent for me in the future. Kong Rong laughed happily, and Ding Wei almost didn't jump up. He really wanted to go up and hug Jing Xian and Guan Ning. Thank you so much for your support. The more he looked at them, the more they liked each other. He believed that Jing Xian's words would soon spread to Beihai, Qingzhou, and throughout the Han Dynasty. Chapter 3. One-shot defeat double hammers. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Ta. A scattered sound of horse hooves echoed on the deserted official road, startled several crows, and soon a team of about 300 people turned around at the mountain pass. In the middle of the team, there was a group of gray-black war horses, which looked very strong. There are more than 10 big men wearing exotic costumes in the herd of horses, each riding a large horse with a galloping pole in their hands, driving the horses. At the forefront of the team, there is a scholar and a warrior. The scholar was about 16 or 17 years old, riding a white horse. He was called a scholar because he lacked armor and had a scholarly aura all over his body. However, he held a large gun in his hand. The other person, riding a large black horse, looked in his 20s, with a tiger back and a bare waist, wearing a helmet and armor, exuding a murderous aura. What is even more frightening is that he is holding a pair of large hammers, weighing over 100 pounds. General Wuan, it's already late at night. The valley here is narrow and there is a dense forest ahead, and there may be bandits. Let's camp here and pass through this canyon tomorrow. The scholar looked at the valley and suddenly restrained his horse, saying, "Ha!" The general laughed a few times, looked around, and said contemptuously, "Young Master Ding, Kong Xiang said that you only came out to see the world. This matter of escorting the warhorses must be under my command." "Yes, but I have my own reasons, you don't have to say much." General Wuan's tone was already filled with anger. "I have walked this road countless times, and about 30 miles further, it will be Qi County. Qi County has 2,000 soldiers stationed here, and which bandit dares to oppose the officers and soldiers here? Besides, these two hammers of mine haven't met any opponents in many years, and I really want to know the bandits for a while. Ding Gongzi, you still think about how to write a few poems to Kong Xiang after returning, so you can become a Confucian general, Ha! The soldiers behind also laughed. "You!" The scholar's face turned red with anger, and he was speechless for a moment. This scholar is Ding Wei, and the military general is Wu Angua, known as the largest general in Qingzhou. Originally, in the past 2 years, due to drought, the harvest in Qingzhou has been very poor, and the court's taxes have been heavy. In addition, some aristocratic families and unscrupulous merchants have united to raise grain prices, causing the people's lives to be very difficult. Helpless, many young adults went up the mountain to become bandits. The governor of Qingzhou, Jiao He, was incompetent, unable to suppress bandits with military force, and unable to pacify the people with literature. Therefore, the banditry in Qingzhou can be said to be thriving day by day. Beihai Prime Minister Kong Rong repeatedly wrote letters to Jiao He, urging him to eliminate the rebels, but he did not receive Jiao He's support and had to give up. Because Beihai County only has 500 soldiers and needs to be distributed in many counties, it is simply powerless to suppress bandits. Moreover, although the number of bandits is not large, ranging from a few dozen to over 100 per person, they all have horses that come and go faster. Wuan State is known as the largest general in Qingzhou, but they have no way to deal with these bandits. Of course Ding Wei understands. These bandits will become the Yellow Turbans of Qingzhou in the future. After the failure of the Yellow Turban uprising, there were millions of Yellow Turban rebels in Qingzhou. After Jiao He, Gong Xuanzan, Yuan Shao, and Kong Rong all served as governors of Qingzhou, but they were unable to eliminate the Yellow Turban in Qingzhou. It was not until later when Cao Cao of Yanzhou sent troops that the bandits in Qingzhou were eliminated, and he surrendered hundreds of thousands of Yellow Turbans, which became his main force in unifying the north. But Qingzhou has been severely damaged by yellow scarves, which can be said to be one of the 100 remaining residents. After learning about this, Ding Wei suggested to Kong Rong to purchase some more horses from Yuzhou and turn all 500 county soldiers into cavalry, so as to eliminate the bandits. Colonel Wu Angua was also very interested in this. With his strong support, Kong Rong finally convinced several aristocratic families in Beihai to gather some money and buy 200 war horses from Yuzhou, allowing Wu Angua to escort back with 300 county soldiers. Ding Wei was afraid of any losses on the road to Wuan State and also wanted to take this opportunity to enter the military camp. Therefore, he requested to go with Wuan State, and Kong Rong agreed. But this incident made Wu Angua very unhappy, thinking that Ding Wei was fighting for credit and had a tendency to look down on him, so he never gave Ding Wei a good face on the way. Fortunately, everything was safe all the way, and Ding Wei didn't mind. However, in this place that was about to reach Qijuan in Qingzhou, Ding Wei felt very uneasy. General Wuan, both sides of this canyon are high mountains, and there are dense forests in the valley, which is a taboo for marching. It's getting dark again, so we should be more careful in case we encounter robbers. Ding Weiqiang continued with patience. Encountering a robber. Ha! Wuanghua burst out laughing again. The taboos of high mountains, dense forests, and marching seem to have been read by Prince Ding. But in my opinion, this is just talk on paper. Oh. Then please ask General Wuan for his advice. I'm just talking on paper, and Ding Wei will listen attentively. Ding Wei's words were also full of anger, and his patience along the way had already reached its limit. If General Wuan can't say it, please camp here and cross the canyon tomorrow afternoon. I'm a colonel, and I'm the final say. Wuanghua ignored Ding Wei, Wei Fang, Lu Ping, and Zhang Tai, pass my order and hurry through the valley. Yes. Wei Fang, Lu Ping, and Zhang Tai, all centurions, agreed and turned around before running towards the back. Stop! Ding Wei suddenly shouted, which not only contained a raging anger, but also carried a murderous aura. The voice echoed in the valley, frightening everyone to stop. All along, Ding Wei has always had a smile on his face, spoke kindly, and everyone regarded him as a scholar. However, the shiny silver gun in his hand is believed to be made of wood by many people, just to decorate the facade or scare people. But this sound made everyone's hearts skip a beat, because everyone realized that Ding Wei's bright silver spear was not meant to scare people, but could kill people, because it released a terrifying killing aura that even Wuanghua was stunned on the spot. Bold! Wuanghua reacted for a moment and became furious. He pointed his hammer at Ding Wei and said, "If you don't follow the orders of the superior, I can take you to justice." Ha! Ding Wei also burst into laughter, which made everyone feel uneasy. General Wuan, Kong Xiang once said that you should listen to my opinions more along the way, but you have always been arbitrary, and I can ignore these. But this time, it's not possible because these 200 horses are related to the anti-bandit campaign in Beihai County and the life and death of the entire Beihai County people. Can you, as a Beihai colonel, bear it? Ding Wei was indeed angry. In the past, he gave face to Wuanghua because he admired Wuanghua's bravery. Being able to support him for 10 rounds under LV Bu's Fang Tian Hua Ji was quite impressive. But I didn't expect him to be such a blindly arrogant, and very foolish person. If Wuanghua wanted to die on his own, he would never stop him. However, these 200 horses, Ding Wei, have ulterior motives. Although he will return to Bingzhou in the future, his second brother Taisher Ci, according to historical development, will fight against Huang Jin in Qingzhou. Of course, in history, Tai Shirzi ultimately defected to Lu Yao alone. In this time and space, he would not let Taisher Ci seek refuge with Lu Yao. Even if he cannot follow him now, he must stay in Qingzhou and regain his yellow scarf in the future. Of course, it's best to take these 200 cavalry with you. If you can't, let him become the capital of Taisher Ci. As for the state of Wuan, when it comes to commanding cavalry to fight, it is far inferior to Taisher Ci. So in Ding Wei's view, these 200 horses are his own, and how could they be easily stolen by robbers? Moreover, during this period, war horses were very expensive, and cavalry was even more precious. 200 cavalry, in terms of combat power, was no less than 2,000 infantry. Moreover, it was impossible for infantry to surround and kill cavalry without absolutely favorable terrain. Wuanghua was so angry that he couldn't speak. Ding Wei brought out De Yi, but he himself was not good at words. He exerted force on his arms, lifted two large iron hammers, and looked at Ding Wei with a murderous expression on his face. He truly had a murderous heart towards Ding Wei, and even when he stepped off the big black horse, he felt his master's anger. With a long hiss, his two front hooves jumped high. Ding Wei held a bright silver spear in his hand, like a sculpture, staring at Wu Onguo without moving, with no fear in his eyes. Ding Wei and Tai Shirzi often compete in martial arts, and they are on par. If they are facing top generals like Guanyu and Zhang Fei, they may still be a bit worried because they lack practical experience. Facing Wuan Kingdom, that can only be considered a second-rate general, there is no need to worry at all. Meanwhile, Ding Wei also wants to test his martial arts skills in this era. 300 soldiers, including 3 centurions, dare not even show their grandeur. These two people, one is their immediate superior, the colonel of Beihai, and the other is the proud disciple of Beihai Prime Minister and the eldest son of Bingzhou Governor Ding Yuan. They can't afford to provoke anyone. As for who to obey, since the two of them are going to take action, the one who wins will listen to the other. In fact, in the military, martial arts are the top priority. Suddenly, Wu Onguo urged the warhorse to charge forward like an arrow, and the double hammers hit Ding Wei's head, one in front and one behind. He obviously wanted to kill Ding Wei, and as for how to explain it to the North Sea Minister Kong Rong, he doesn't want to consider it now. Ding Wei remained calm and composed, his arms exerting force, his anger sinking into the elixir field. He lifted his silver spear upwards and shouted, "Go!" With 2 loud bangs, the hammer hit the barrel of the gun one after another, deafening. Many soldiers threw away their weapons and covered their ears with both hands. The warhorses were disturbed and frantically ran around, but fortunately, the experienced drivers worked hard to control the horses. Ding Wei felt a numbness in his arms, his tiger mouth almost shattering, and his body's qi and blood churned. He stepped down from his warhorse, Bai Shui, and retreated 4 or 5 steps in a row. What great strength! No wonder we can fight against Lu Bu for 10 rounds. Ding Wei was secretly surprised. Usually, when he and Tai Shirzi sparred martial arts, he used his strength to pressure Tai Shirzi, but this time, he clearly fell behind in strength. It seems that I have underestimated Wuan Kingdom too much. Those who have left a name in history are not ordinary people. Ding Wei raised his head and looked at Wu Onguo. He saw that Wu Onguo's warhorses had also retreated several steps. The double hammer is not being held up, but being held up, with both arms trembling and an incredible expression on their face. And the 300 soldiers, each with their mouths half open, looked at Ding Wei in surprise as if they had seen a ghost. The top general of Qingzhou unexpectedly drew with this weak young Master Ding. How could this be? Is it really a tie? Wu Onguo knew in his heart that he had lost. In terms of weapons, the hammer is known for its strength, while the gun is known for its agility. It's like using his strengths to tie with Ding Wei's weaknesses. If Ding Wei is not as strong as him and uses his skills, he must not be an opponent. Although Wu Onguo is very arrogant, as a general, he still has self-awareness. He understood that if Ding Wei had practical combat experience, he would definitely avoid his thunderous strike and then take advantage of the situation to counterattack, and he would quickly be at a disadvantage. Ding Gongzi, the captain of this school, said that you are talking about military matters on paper, not just talking nonsense. I have a basis. Wu Onguo's tone no longer had the previous arrogance, but there was still a sense of condescension. May I hear its details? Ding Wei said coldly. Wu Onguo was very dissatisfied with the tone in which Ding Wei spoke, but this time he restrained himself. He had always boasted that his military strength was not as high as Ding Wei's, and his identity was much higher than him. Such a person, as a small colonel from a humble background, could not be provoked. He knew how to advance or retreat. Of course, if he had known Ding Wei was so powerful, he would have been very respectful. Although there are many bandits in the entire Qingzhou, the biggest one is Chao Heihu, located between Donglai and Jiaodong. Although he claims to have 3,000 soldiers, apart from the elderly, weak, women, and children, there are only about 500 soldiers who can fight. Not to mention that they are only 200 or 300 miles away from here, but they all have arrived here without proper weapons in their hands. They are just a group of rags that cannot pose a threat to us. Moreover, when we entered the valley, we saw crows flying away from the trees. Based on my years of experience, no forest with ambushes would have birds, so I dare to conclude that there are no birds here. Bandits. Wu Onghua said here, looking at everyone present, and then asked Ding Wei with a hint of pride, "How are you, young Master Ding?" Chapter 4. The Appearance of Forest Robbers. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After Wu Onghua finished speaking this paragraph, he looked disdainfully at Ding Wei. In his heart, marching and fighting would rely on years of experience. At best, Ding Wei only read a few military books, which were not practical at all. It was a true talk on paper. He didn't say it earlier because he disdained to talk to Ding Wei. I didn't expect that Wu Onghua was not a brave and resourceless person yet. Ding Wei thought for a moment, feeling that what he said was indeed reasonable, perhaps because he was too careful. What if they were lurking deep in the canyon without disturbing the birds at the entrance? Ding Wei still felt uneasy because he felt a faint unease in his heart. Ha! Wu Onghua laughed a few times, although he no longer had the arrogance he had just shown, he couldn't hide his contempt. If that's the case, how many people can they ambush? Do they dare to rob Wu Onghua? Ding Wei thought for a moment and it was indeed this truth. Okay. Wei Fang, Lu Ping, Zhang Tai. Wu Onghua saw that Ding Wei did not refute him and immediately issued an order. My subordinates are here. The three of them woke up from a dream and quickly ran to the horse in Wuan country, kneeling to the ground. Wei Fang led 100 people in the front, Lu Ping led 100 people in the middle, Zhang Tai led 100 people to the rear, and the horses were in the middle, rushing through the canyon. Yes. As soon as the Wuan dialect was finished, he grabbed his warhorse with both feet and rushed to the front of the team like an arrow, diving into the forest. Wei Fang, accompanied by 100 soldiers, followed behind Wu Onghua and also rushed into the forest. Lu Ping walked together with 200 horses and slowly entered the forest. Ding Gongzi, let's go. Watching everyone enter, Zhang Tai, who was cut off, commanded the remaining soldiers to walk towards the forest. As soon as they arrived at the forest, they heard a loud rumbling sound. Looking up, they were surprised to see many thick trees and huge rocks rolling down from the cliffs on both sides. Not good, quickly retreat. Ding Wei's face changed drastically as he shouted loudly. Ah! Screams of agony rang out, and in the blink of an eye, the 20 or 30 soldiers walking ahead were pressed down by trees and boulders. Some of their limbs split, while others turned into a piece of meat cake, which was unbearable. The soldiers behind quickly retreated, but many people were also injured by stones. There's a robber, run! Someone shouted, and the remaining dozens of soldiers ran backwards like a tide. Stop! Ding Greatest shouted, but no one listened to him. In a fit of anger, Ding Wei fiercely gripped his warhorse with his legs and rushed to the front with a whoosh sound. The bright silver spear flew horizontally in the air. Those who violate orders will be killed without mercy. The panicked soldiers finally stopped their steps. Ha! A burst of laughter came from above the cliff. Ding Wei looked up and saw about a dozen or so people on each side of the cliff, holding knives, guns, bows and arrows, as well as some sticks. Listen to me, the people below are lucky. If you don't die today, get out of here. If you dare to step half a step into the forest ahead, let you die without a place to bury yourself. After speaking, the people on both sides of the cliff laughed and left. The canyon quieted down again, and the air was filled with a strong smell of blood. The occasional painful moans of the soldiers made the valley even more terrifying. Ding Wei turned around and saw that there were less than 50 soldiers, except for those who were injured. Seeing such a scene for the first time made him feel uneasy, and he worked hard to calm himself down. Zhang Tai, lead someone to clean up these trees and rocks immediately. General Wuan will definitely be in danger. We need to go and save them quickly. Ding Gongzi, this. Zhang Tai's face changed and he spoke hesitantly. What? Are you going to disobey? Ding Wei's face darkened, and his words were already filled with anger. He thought of Wuangua and the 200 soldiers and horses who had entered, and his heart was burning with anxiety. Well. Zhang Tai looked at Ding Wei, young Master Ding, it must be my subordinates who disobeyed. Look, we only have a few dozen people left. It's getting dark again, and rushing in wouldn't mean we'll die. We don't even know who the robbers are, how many people there are. The number of robbers is definitely not many, otherwise how could they just stop us outside instead of surrounding us? Ding Wei already understood from the words of the robbers when they left. Indeed, there were not many robbers, and they had intended to scare Ding Wei and others, but the last few words added insult to injury, making Ding Wei suddenly understand. Young Master Ding, if you say there aren't many robbers, then there aren't many of them. If we really want to fight, you have horses and the robbers can't catch up. But what should we do? Besides, we only listen to Colonel Wuan, don't we? Zhang Tai, I was ordered by Kong Xiang to escort the warhorses. General Wuan is not here now, and I am your superior. I will say it again, immediately lead someone to clean up the trees and rocks, and rescue General Wuan and the warhorses. Ding Wei's face was filled with murderous intent, and his eyes were burning with anger. Zhang Tai felt a wave of fear in his heart. He wanted to give an order, but looking at the soldiers dying under the trees and rocks, he felt even more scared. After clearing these, we will enter the forest ahead, who knows what will be waiting for them. This young Master Ding must not be their direct superior. Can he still kill himself? At most, if he goes back and accuses Kong Xiang in front of him, he won't kill him. A big deal, with Wuangua at the forefront, he is just a small centurion. Young Master Ding, I cannot let my soldiers die for nothing. Puff. Zhang Tai originally wanted to say something righteous and resolute, but before he could finish speaking, suddenly there was a sound of weapons entering the flesh. Everyone looked frightened and their faces turned pale. They saw that Ding Wei's bright silver spear had already penetrated Zhang Tai's neck. Ding Wei felt a pang of discomfort in his heart. Although he had just seen many soldiers being killed, they were not killed by himself. Killing Zhang Tai was his first time killing someone, and he was very uncomfortable. He tried to hold back and didn't spit it out. With a heart-wrenching and a trembling hand, he withdrew his silver spear and threw Zhang Tai's body out. Brother Zhang Tai, don't blame me. If I have to kill you, in order to save more people, I can only make you stand up. The only blame is that you were born out of time and didn't know how to practice. Ding Wei sighed inwardly. In this era where human lives are like grass, in order to survive, he sometimes has to become cold and cruel. Clean up the trees and rocks immediately, prepare to rescue General Wuan, and those who violate orders will be beheaded. Yes. 50 or 60 soldiers, including the injured, spoke in unison and quickly cleared up. Although Zhang Tai is only a centurion, he is also considered a ruthless person in the army. However, Ding Wei can kill anyone, he says. How can these soldiers not be afraid? Now no one dares to disobey orders or act against the will. Wuangua took the lead and rushed to the front, but soon heard a loud noise from behind. He immediately restrained his horse and looked back, only to see trees and stones rolling down from the valley entrance, and dust covering the sky. Not good, ambushed. He regretted deeply in his heart, as the terrain was very unfavorable to him. Sure enough, hundreds of figures flashed ahead, each with a fierce and evil spirit, their clothes in tattered condition, and various weapons in their hands. The leader was a man with a tiger back and a bare waist, with a face like black charcoal, holding a broad-backed machete. The officers and soldiers on the opposite side listen, leave the horses behind. Grandpa, I'll let you go over. Otherwise, I'll chop off all your heads and throw them into the mountains to feed the wolves. The voice of the black-faced man was like a loud and unpleasant gong, which frightened the soldiers behind Wuangwa and made them tremble. Bold bandits, I am Captain Wuangwa of Beihai. You have eaten bear hearts and leopard courage, dare you come and rob me? After a moment of panic, Wuangwa immediately calmed down. The hundreds of bandits in front of him were refugees, without even a decent weapon. He didn't even pay attention to them, as long as there were no other ambushes, he wouldn't be afraid. He pointed his right hand with a hammer and said, I will hammer down the unknown and report my name. Wuan Kingdom, I originally wanted to save your life, but you don't know what's going on. Today, I'll let you know about Grandpa Zhou Tsang's strength. The black man finished speaking, raised his machete, and took big steps towards Wuan Kingdom. Little thief, how dare you be rampant in front of me? Wuangwa was furious and urged his horse to run towards Zhou Tsang, death. As soon as they approached, Wuangwa's left hammer hit Zhou Tsang's head, while his right hammer sealed Zhou Tsang's machete. In his mind, if this move goes down, Zhou Tsang must have his brain cracked. He is a petty thief, and he has no right to challenge him, the largest general in Qingzhou. Zhou Tsang was not just a simple thief. He was an important general of the Yellow Turban Army later on. In the end, he followed Gongyou and carried a big sword for second master. Not only was he skilled in martial arts, but he was also loyal and righteous. After Guanyu's death, he committed suicide. If Ding Wei were here, he would definitely be extremely careful, but Wuangwa didn't know about this. With a gust of wind, Wuangwa's double hammers quickly smashed towards Zhou Tsang, but there was no sound of weapons colliding or Zhou Tsang's screams. Wuangwa was taken aback and realized that Zhou Tsang was nowhere to be found. He let out a bad cry and suddenly felt a cold wind coming from behind his head. Wuangwa is on horseback, Zhou Tsang is at the foot. If we were to confront each other head-on, Zhou Tsang would definitely not be our opponent. But Zhou Tsang had a strong ability in infantry combat. He saw the direction of Wuangwa's double hammers and lightly turned to dodge behind Wuangwa. At the same time, he swung his broadback sword and lightning struck Wuangwa's neck. The weapons of Wuan Kingdom were too heavy, and it was too late to turn around and wield a large sword. In a hurry, he pressed his body tightly against the back of his horse. Puff! With a loud sound, the big knife sliced through Wuangwa's helmet and flew out with a tuft of hair. Wuangwa lay on the back of his horse, his face changed greatly, and his heart twitched. He has also gone through many wars, but he has never been as dangerous as this time. If his reaction were to slow down by half a minute, his head would fall to the ground. Let's rest in Wuan, and Liao Hua will also come. Before Wuangwa could recover from his panic, a horse rushed towards him. A white-faced man with a phoenix-mouthed sword in both hands rushed towards him. Behind him, there were also over 100 robbers shouting loudly, and Zhou Tsang behind him seemed to be chasing after them again. At first glance, Wuangwa was shocked. What he was most worried about was that there were still ambushes. How could he dare to confront them now? He grabbed his horse with force, waved a move at Liao Huaxiu, and fled. Lu Ping and Wei Fong looked around and saw that they didn't even care about the war horses. They rushed towards the direction of Wuangwa's escape. Let's rest in Wuan. Zhou Tsang and Liao Hua shouted at the same time, brothers, catch up quickly and kill all these officers and soldiers. However, the robbers only shouted but did not catch up, and Zhou Tsang and Liao Hua were the same. However, these officers and soldiers dare not turn back and flee like a tide. Ha! Brother Yuanfu, we're getting rich. Liao Hua laughed heartily as he looked at these 200 excellent war horses. The Tu Ling, Air Tu Ling, we were over 40 people, defeated 300 officials' troops, and defeated the first general of Qingzhou, Wu Ongwa. In the future, as long as we follow the two leaders, we can walk horizontally on the land of Qingzhou. Yes, yes. At this moment, Zhou Cang and Liao Hua gathered together with everyone. It turned out that there were only a few 40 people, and the others were all grass figures. As it was getting dark, Wu Ongwa's heart was flustered and he didn't even see clearly. Mr. Sun's cunning is still impressive, otherwise just a few of us won't be enough to fill the gaps for the officers and soldiers. Everyone, hurry up and drive the horses back to the mountain fortress. Yes. Chapter 5. Small Soldiers and Major Generals. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Zhou Cang and Liao Hua, together with a team of over 40 refugees, drove 200 war horses happily towards the mountain fortress. The harvest this time can be said to be very great. War horses are very expensive in this era, and one horse is worth tens of gold, equivalent to hundreds of loads of grain. Big boss, look. As he was walking forward, suddenly a thin and small servant pointed ahead and trembled. Zhou Cang and Liao Hua both looked up and saw a group of soldiers blocking their way about 10 zhang ahead. This team of soldiers consists of about 50.60 people, each wearing leather armor and holding steel knives, shining brightly in the dim moonlight. On their bodies, a faint layer of dust and blood could be seen. And in front of them, a handsome young man rode a white horse, holding a bright silver gun in his hand, imposing and murderous. Originally, people in this era, especially the poor, due to malnutrition, could hardly see anything with their eyes at night. Although it was not completely dark yet and his vision was greatly affected, he only discovered someone within 10 zhang. Zhou Cang and Liao Hua felt a wave of panic in their hearts. Although the number of officers and soldiers in the front is not many, they are also more than them, and they can see that although these people are not elite soldiers in 100 battles, they are all very strong, much stronger than the team composed of these refugees. In the late Eastern Han Dynasty, the soldiers of Qingzhou were definitely considered strong. As long as there was invasion from foreign tribes, whether it was the Chang ethnic group in the west, the Xiongnu and Xianbei in the north, or the generals of the court, they all liked to recruit Qingzhou soldiers. Although these soldiers are only county soldiers, they are more than enough to deal with ordinary robbers. Compared to the panic of Zhou Cang and Liao Hua, Ding Wei's heart is now much more at ease. He discovered this group of robbers early on and prepared his subordinates for battle, waiting for their arrival. When the robbers approached, not only Ding Wei, but also the soldiers under his command were clearly visible. There were only a few 40 refugees, and most of them were as thin as a stick. Some of them were holding nothing but sticks. Can this still be called a soldier? They have gone from fear, rebellion, and unease to excitement now. Defeating these robbers and retrieving the horses is a great achievement for everyone, and they will definitely receive rewards from the North Sea Prime Minister. At this moment, their eyes towards Ding Wei changed, from initial fear to immense admiration and reverence, in modern words, admiration. Ding Gongzi, that was a disciple of the Northern Sea Prime Minister and the eldest son of the governor of Bingzhou. He was both civil and military, a generation of Confucian generals, and knew everything well. These cunning schemes of thieves could not deceive him at all, and he was immediately exposed. Even General Wuan was far behind him. Many people thought this way. Ding Wei actually just let go of his worries. At the beginning, he couldn't be certain about the number of robbers, it was just speculation. However, he didn't want these warhorses to be taken away. He bravely pursued them. Keep the warhorses, I'll let you go, otherwise, you'll all be buried here. Although Ding Wei has a huge advantage, he still doesn't want to fight hard. If we can successfully regain our warhorses and surrender our troops without fighting, it is naturally the best strategy. He is unwilling to do things like killing 1,000 enemies and self-harming 800. Moreover, he is full of sympathy towards these refugees. To become a bandit is to be forced by life. Zhou Cang and Liao Hua looked at each other, then turned around to look at the minions behind them. They no longer had the excitement they had just had, each with a face full of fear, and some of their legs were already trembling. If the officers and soldiers on the opposite side charge forward, many people may not even have the strength to run, let alone fight. But if you hand over the horse like this, but feel unwilling in your heart, who is willing to spit out the fat on your lips? The only way now is to kill the young master on the other side, so that they can turn the tide. We can also hand over the horses, but you need to be able to defeat the knife in my hand. Liao Hua suddenly said. Yes, there's also my knife. Zhou Cang saw Liao Hua speak and quickly followed, casting an approving glance at him. Sure enough, after Liao Hua finished speaking, some confident gazes appeared on the faces of the subordinates behind him. This is a battle, comparing whose leader has greater abilities. If Liao Hua loses, it is obvious that he will hand over his horse. If he wins, the officers and soldiers will feel embarrassed to take it. Ding Wei thought this was very funny. I have such a big advantage, why do I have to gamble with you like this? Just command the soldiers to charge. But he found that the others did not have any unusual expressions. He didn't understand that this kind of gameplay was common in the era of cold weapons. Guan Yi's 5-level slaying and 6 generals was like this. Of course, if Ding Wei orders his subordinates to rush over, there is nothing wrong with it. In battle, victory or defeat is still the criterion for heroes. Ding Wei looked at Zhou Cang and Liao Hua, and he didn't want to cause too much slaughter. Since he was going to fight a general, let's come. Are you two coming together or one by one? Ding Wei said this just to end the gambling battle in time, but what he didn't know was that in this era, it was a great humiliation to a military general. Bold madman, look at the sword. Liao Hua shouted loudly, his anger rising from his heart. He urged his horse to swing his sword and headed straight towards Ding Wei. Ding Wei looked at Liao Hua without moving. Just as Liao Hua's horse was only 1 zhang away from Ding Wei's horse, his legs suddenly clenched, and the bright silver spear flew like a venomous snake, piercing Liao Hua's chest. Liao Hua didn't expect Ding Wei's gun to be so fast. He was surprised to see that if he continued to attack Ding Wei, the sword would still be in mid-air. He was afraid that Ding Wei's gun would have pierced his chest and quickly turned back to fight back. At this moment, the two horses were already parallel, with their heads facing their tails. Ding Wei saw Liao Hua swinging his knife and trying to forcefully knock out this shot. He immediately withdrew the gun and shook his hand before stabbing it out again, but it was 1 foot higher than the previous shot and headed straight towards Liao Hua's throat. The timing of receiving and sending was just right, just after Liao Hua swung his knife. Liao Hua's face changed drastically. This move was too fast and too tricky, and he couldn't react at all. In a fit of urgency, his body suddenly fell backwards and he slept flat on the back of his horse. The bright silver gun, carrying the sound of hunting wind, almost brushed against Liao Hua's face. His face was scratched by the wind, but Liao Hua was already numb and did not feel any pain. His clothes were soaked with sweat, and his heart was pounding. Be careful, Yuan Jian. Zhou Cang, who was suddenly watching from behind, shouted loudly. At the same time as hearing Zhou Cang's shout, Liao Hua felt a deadly cold wind rushing towards his back. Not good. Liao Hua muttered to himself, knowing that this shot could no longer be avoided, but he must have received guidance from a master. Although he was just starting the battle, he had strong adaptability and rolled off his horse. During this period, there were no saddles or stirrups, and it was easy to roll off the horse. However, when others dodged, Ding Wei stabbed a long bloody hole in the back of the horse. Hiss. The warhorse let out a long hiss and fled into the wilderness. In the era of cold weapons, in horse warfare, after 2 horses charge past, they must be pulled back again, and this process is called a round. During this process, ordinary generals can only use 1 move, while first-class generals can use 2 moves. Those like Ding Wei who can use 3 moves in one turn can be considered top-level generals. Ding Wei turned his horse's head and looked at Liao Hua on the ground. He had already taken off his phoenix mouth knife and had several holes in his clothes. Although he had not been stabbed by the gun, the front of the gun had already scratched several areas of his skin, with blood seeping out, making him look disheveled. Ding Wei restrained his warhorse and looked coldly at Liao Hua lying on the ground and Zhou Cang and others watching the battle nearby, but did not take the opportunity to kill Liao Hua. Zhou Cang's face was full of fear, and the group of robbers behind him remained silent and engaged in a fierce battle. Ding Gongzi is mighty. Kill the robber. More than 50 officers and soldiers were all extremely excited, and with just one move, they stabbed the fierce thief's head off their horses, greatly boosting their morale. Ding Wei gently waved the bright silver gun in his hand towards his back, and the soldiers' shouts came to an abrupt end. Ding Wei remained calm, but his heart was filled with excitement. He believed that these soldiers had already obeyed him. It seemed that in this era, force was too important in the army. I, the young master, will not kill an unknown person under the gun. Please give me your name. Ding Wei originally planned to kill these 2 bandit heads, and the rest of them would definitely scatter and flee, so that they could regain their warhorses without bloodshed. More than half of these 100 people have died or been injured, and he doesn't want to increase the casualties. But when he heard the thief shout, "Be careful, Yuan Jian," just now, he felt that the name was somewhat familiar, so he changed his mind. Dog official, if you want to kill, you can kill. I, Liao Hua, am not someone who is greedy for life and afraid of death. At this point, Liao Hua had already stood up, but did not pick up the phoenix-mouthed sword that had fallen to the ground, because he knew that the difference between the two was too great, and even without a warhorse, holding the sword would not make much sense. Liao Hua. Ding Wei exclaimed in surprise. Liao Hua was very famous during the Three Kingdoms period, especially in the late Shu Han period, when he was a famous veteran general who shook the Wei, Shu, and Wu kingdoms. Jiang Wei launched a northern expedition to the Central Plains, and at the age of 83, Liao Hua became the vanguard. Therefore, some people say that there were no great generals in Shu, but Liao Hua became the vanguard. Many people misinterpret this statement as belittling Liao Hua, but in fact, the person who said this was to emphasize Liao Hua's noble position among the generals of Shu Han. Ding Wei secretly felt fortunate that thanks to his extra cunning, otherwise this grand and late bloomer would have completely changed his fate due to his arrival. But he immediately thought to himself, could this be another person with the same name and surname? How could Liao Hua not sustain even one turn under his own gun? Who are you? Ding Wei pointed his gun at Zhou Cang. I am Zhou Cang, your warhorse was robbed by me. If you have the ability to come towards me. Zhou Cang calmed down after being frightened just now. Firstly, he had already set aside life and death, and secondly, he now understood that the main reason for the huge gap between Liao Hua and this person was the issue of warhorses. The white horse that this young master stepped on was definitely a BMW, and Liao Hua's horse was old and thin, so it couldn't be called a warhorse. Zhou Cang is another celebrity, his name is even more well-known than Liao Hua. He now understood that Liao Hua and Zhou Cang were both important generals of the Yellow Turban Army, and it seemed that they had become bandits at this time. Later, when the Yellow Turban Uprising broke out, they joined the Yellow Turban Army. Ding Wei was overjoyed and said, since you have met me today, you will definitely not be able to go to the Yellow Turban Army. I want you to be my right-hand man. Chapter 6. The Righteous Soldier Qi Guixin. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. If you want to kill or cut, please be happy. Ding Wei was thinking about how to recapture Zhou Cang and Liao Hua. He was momentarily distracted, but was awakened by Liao Hua's voice. He felt a sense of fear and distraction on the battlefield, which was a taboo for generals. Fortunately, Liao Hua and Zhou Cang did not take advantage of the situation, but it was enough for him to learn a lesson. Zhou Tsang and Liao Hua, I see that both of you are brave warriors. Why don't you join the army and make contributions, give birth to your wife and children, but become this bandit? How easy it is to say that you have made great achievements and given your wife and children a place to take care of them. Liao Hua lifted his head and looked at Ding Wei on horseback. Martial arts practitioners, who doesn't want to make great achievements? But this Han military camp is all under the control of your aristocratic children, and there is no place for our humble family. Yes, Yuan Jian and I both went to Yuyang to join the army. We originally wanted to kill a few Xianbei people to avenge our families, but to our surprise, the dog official Du Yang did not go to fight Xianbei, but instead killed villagers and pretended to be military achievements. We were not convinced and argued with him, but were falsely accused of being Xianbei spies. There is no place for us to stand in this military camp. Zhou Tsang said angrily. Yuyang. Ding Wei thought for a moment. Yuyang is located in the northern part of Yuzhou, bordering Xianbei. Xianbei people often go south to rob. However, in his later memories, it seems that Gongsun Zan repeatedly attacked the Xianbei people, making them afraid to go south for many years. How could there be a phenomenon of killing good deeds and taking credit? In fact, Gongsun Zan's reputation in later generations was mostly after the Yellow Turban Uprising. At that time, Yuzhou was still in chaos, and several governors of Yuzhou were either killed or fled. Gongsun Zan was born into a moderate family, but due to his mother's humble background, he could only serve as a clerk. But he is handsome and beautiful, with just one word, handsome, in modern words, and his voice is loud and intelligent. Therefore, he was appreciated by the prefect Lu Jun and summoned as his son.in.law. With the help of his father.in.law, he became a teacher under Lu Ji, mainly studying military strategy and tactics. After 2 years of studying, Gongsun Zan served as an imperial chariot under the command of prefect Lu Jun. Lu Jun was dismissed from his position for offending the 10 attendants and sent to Jiaozhou Rainan. Gongsun Zan risked being killed illegally and disguised himself as a soldier to escort him along the way. Along the way, Lu Jun was pardoned with the help of Lu Ji, Yuan Wei, and others. After Gongsun Zan returned, he was promoted to filial piety and honesty due to his moral character, and was appointed as the chief historian of the Liaodong vassal state. In the winter of the second year, Gongsun Zan led dozens of cavalry to patrol the pass. When he saw hundreds of Xianbei cavalry heading south to rob, Gongsun Zan was defeated by dozens of people and retreated to defend the empty pavilion. The Xianbei people were all fierce, and the casualties of Gongsun Zan's subordinates were increasing. Gongsun Zan once studied military tactics with Lu Ji and knew the truth that long-term defense would lead to loss. He said to the remaining subordinates, "If we continue to defend like this, we will definitely be killed bit by the Xianbei people. If we turn from defending to attacking now and rush out, we may all die in battle, but we can kill more enemies. What do you think we should do?" We all listened to Lord Changsha. The crowd had already turned a blind eye and shouted loudly. So, Gongsun Zan, wielding a spear, rode his horse and led his team to charge into the Xianbei team, killing dozens of people. The dozens of cavalry behind him saw such bravery, and each of them burst into a powerful force, one at a time. Although the Xianbei people were fierce, they were suppressed by the reckless tactics of Gongsun Zan and others, and finally retreated. Gongsun Zan only had 11 people left in the end. However, thereafter, the Xianbei people dared not easily cross the border and step into Yuyang. Lu Jun submitted the achievements of Gongsun Zan to the court, and Gongsun Zan was promoted to the position of county magistrate of Zhuxian. Later, Bianzhang and Han Sui rebelled in the western Liang region, and most of Liangzhou responded with unstoppable momentum. Huanfu Song sent a memorial to the court requesting assistance, and the court conscripted 3,000 elite cavalry from Yuzhou and gave Gongsun Zan a talisman to act as the commander, commanding these 3,000 cavalry. When Gongsun Zan led his army to Jizhong, Zhang Chun, a fisherman from Yuyang, lured the leader of Wuhuan in western Liaoning, Qiu Liju, and others to rebel and capture the right Beiping County. Gongsun Zan pursued Zhang Chun and other traders with 3,000 cavalry, made military achievements, and was promoted to cavalry captain. At this time, the leader of the vassal state of Wuhuan, Greedy King, led his troops to surrender to Gongsun Zan. Gongsun Zan was promoted to the rank of Zhonglang general and granted the title of Duding Marquis. He stationed himself in his vassal state, and for the next 5 or 6 years, he engaged in constant wars with the northern nomadic tribes. In the 5th year of Zhongping, Gongsun Zan fought against Zhang Chun, Qiu Liju, and others in Shimen, a vassal state of Liaodong. Zhang Chun and others suffered a great defeat, and Zhang Chun abandoned his wife and children and fled to Xianbei. Gongsun Zan continued to pursue, but due to being too deep, he was besieged by Qiu Liju in Guanzi city in western Liaoning for more than 200 days. With no food left, the soldiers collapsed, and most of them died or were injured. Qiu Liju's army also ran out of food and ran away from Luqing. The court issued an edict to appoint Gongsun Zan as the captain of the surrendered troops, conferred the title of Marquis of the Capital Pavilion, and concurrently served as the Minister of State. Gongsun Zan then led his troops and horses to guard the border. Every time he heard an enemy attack, Gongsun Zan immediately spoke in a fierce voice, as if fighting against his own enemy, and even fought until late at night. From then on, Wuhuan was afraid of Gongsun Zan's bravery and dared not invade again. Gongsun Zan often rode white horses with dozens of skilled archers around him, forming left and right wings, and calling himself White Horse Yi Tsong. After the Yellow Turban Rebellion, the court appointed Lu Yu, a native of Donghai County, as the governor of Yuzhou. After Lu Yu took office, he sent envoys to the nomadic tribes to explain his interests and ordered them to offer Zhang Chun's head. Qiu Liju and others heard that Lu Yu had arrived and sent envoys to communicate about the matter of surrender. Gongsun Zan was worried about Lu Yu's achievements and secretly sent people to assassinate these envoys on the way. After the nomadic people understood this matter, they took a detour to Lu Yu's place. Lu Yu reported to the court to withdraw the garrison troops, leaving only Gongsun Zan to lead over 10,000 infantry and cavalry stationed in right Beiping. In March of the 6th year of the Zhongping reign of Emperor Ling of Han, Zhang Chun was killed by his disciple Wang Zheng and his head was given to Lu Yu. Lu Yu was awarded the position of Grand Commandant for his meritorious efforts in pacifying the nomadic people and was appointed as the Marquis of Xiangban. Shortly thereafter, Lu Yu was appointed as the Grand Marshal, Gongsun Zan was appointed as the General of Fenwu, and was granted the title of Marquis of Ji. Of course, all of this happened in the future. At this time, Gongsun Zan did not have any fame, and Yuzhou was already in chaos. The Xianbei people often went south to plunder. If you too want to join the army, I can help. I can guarantee that there will never be the same situation as before, how about it? Ding Wei took his gun and smiled. Zhou Tsang looked at Liao Hua, obviously seeking his opinion. May I ask, young master? Liao Hua's language no longer contained the strong hostility he had just expressed. Ding Wei. Ding Wei. Liao Hua and Zhou Tsang both exclaimed in surprise. But the eldest son of the governor of Bingzhou and the disciple of Kong Rong, the prime minister of Beihai, Ding Wei Chengyan. Liao Hua's voice trembled slightly. Exactly. Ding Wei still smiled. If you too want to join the army in Beihai, I can definitely help. If you want to join the army in Bingzhou, I only need one sentence, and I guarantee that you too will be valued. As for achieving success and giving birth to wives and children, it depends on your own abilities. Zhou Tsang and Liao Hua exchanged a glance at each other, then excitedly looked at Ding Wei, took 2 steps forward, knelt down on the ground, and said, "See you, Lord." Lord. Ding Wei was a bit confused by these 2 words. He didn't expect these 2 people to recognize him as the main one so quickly. He originally wanted to wait for these two people to arrive in the army before slowly wooing them. You should know that the word Lord has great significance in this era, which means lifelong loyalty. Yuan Jian and Yuan Fu, please get up quickly. Ding Wei immediately jumped off his horse and helped Liao Hua and Zhou Cang up. From now on, we will be brothers. You can definitely make achievements and become marquises and generals in the future. Thank you very much, Lord. The two stood up with tears of emotion in their eyes. They both claimed to be very brave, but due to their humble backgrounds, no one looks up to them. Now this young Master Ding, the son of the governor of Bingzhou, a disciple of Kong Rong, the prime minister of Beihai, and known as a generation of Confucian generals. In the late Eastern Han Dynasty, the status of literati was much higher than that of martial artists, but the Confucian general was different. He was both skilled in literature and martial arts, capable of pacifying the country, and capable of governing the country. At this time, only Lu Ji was present. Ding Wei, a young man under the age of 20, is able to achieve this honor, which shows how much influence he has. Such a person actually appreciates the two robbers. Zhou Cang and Liao Hua could feel Ding Wei's sincerity towards them from the bottom of their hearts. How could they not be moved? From this moment on, they entrusted their entire lives to Ding Wei, making great contributions to Ding Wei's later achievements. Yuan Jian, Yuan Fu, if your subordinates want to go back, I'll give them some money and things. If they don't want to go back, just follow me. We are willing to follow the young master, Ding Wei said. As soon as they finished speaking, Liao Hua and the more than 40 robbers led by Zhou Cang threw away their weapons and knelt down together. Okay, everyone, please pick me up quickly. Since everyone is willing to follow me, Ding Wei guarantees that as long as I have a bite to eat, I won't let everyone go hungry. We will share blessings and difficulties together. Ding Wei feels that he has only just showcased the characteristics of a top student in his Chinese department today. He no longer needs to speak in semi-classical Chinese, but can say whatever he thinks. Moreover, the simpler the words, the more sincere they can be. Thank you very much, Lord, everyone said in unison. If Ding Wei's words were to be placed in later generations, they would be too empty to be true. However, in this era, these humble people are required to remain loyal to them to the death. Ding Wei was very happy. Although these 40 or so people looked a bit thin and pale with a hint of blue on their faces, their eyes were bright and lively. It was obvious that they were malnourished. As long as they were fed enough and received more training, they would definitely become elite soldiers. Little Han Yong, willing to follow the young master from now on. Suddenly, one of the 50 county soldiers led by Ding Wei, a tall man, walked up to him in 3 or 2 steps, knelt down on both knees, and said, "We are willing to obey the young master's orders and follow him." Han Yong had just finished speaking, and more than 50 other county soldiers also knelt down. Okay. Ding Wei was very excited. He had been thinking about how to train a private soldier, but didn't have the opportunity. He didn't expect such good luck today. Ding Wei combined the people he led with those led by Zhou Cang and Liao Hua, counted a total of 110 people, and then took off the armor of the deceased soldiers, buried their bodies, and selected some physically strong soldiers to form a 10-person personal guard team, which Zhou Cang commanded. The remaining 100 people formed cavalry, with Liao Hua as the commander and Han Yong as the deputy commander. They also collected the food and forage they carried and handed it over to Han Yong for escort. Thus, Ding Wei's first private army was finally completed. Chapter 7. Great Talent Son Gongyou. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lord, we are a mountain fortress with some belongings and dozens of elderly, weak, women, and children. After rectifying the private army, Liao Hua said, most of those people are the parents, wives, and children of our brothers in the past and present. Without us, they cannot survive. Ding Wei thought for a moment and realized that in this chaotic era, most of these elderly, weak, women, and children would not be cared for by the government, leaving them to fend for themselves. If he gave these people some property and dismissed them, although Liao Hua and Zhou Tsang couldn't bear it, they wouldn't say anything. However, Ding Wei is still the soul of modern times and cannot be so ruthless. Bring them along, and when we arrive in Beihai, I will find Kong Xiang and give them some land to live a peaceful life. Speaking of this, Ding Wei couldn't bear it anymore. He thought of the decades-long history of bandits rampant in Qingzhou after the Yellow Turban Rebellion next year, and how could there be a peaceful life? Thank you, Lord. Liao Hua and Zhou Tsang knelt down on their knees again, tears streaming down their eyes. Thank you, Lord. Your kindness. Liao Hua and Zhou Tsang's former subordinates all knelt down. Everyone, get up quickly. Ding Wei quickly gestured to everyone and personally helped Liao Hua and Zhou Tsang up. The common people of this era only seek a bite to eat and a quiet life. Their needs are so low. But that's all, those temple artifacts cannot be satisfied. How could the Yellow Turban Rebellion have erupted without the corruption and greed of the imperial court and aristocratic families? But the result of the Yellow Turban Uprising not only failed to rescue civilians, but also made their lives more difficult, because the corruption of the upper echelons of the Yellow Turban was faster and more severe than that of those officials. I must end the chaotic times and let the people live a peaceful life. If Ding Wei initially had only one idea of dominating the chaotic times, then now he has a goal, although it is still vague, it has given him direction. There is also Mr. Sun in our Shanzhai, who has great talent, Liao Hua said again. Mr. Sunday. What is his name? Ding Wei asked. Master, we don't even know his name. Liao Hua arched his hand and said, a month ago, we encountered Peng Laosan from Tsangling with a group of people robbing a small village in Wan County. We couldn't bear it anymore, so we killed Peng Laosan and saved Mr. Sunday. Mr. Sun said he didn't want to owe us anything, so he stayed in the mountain fortress and left after making contributions. Lord, Mr. Sun is a great talent, Zhou Tsang continued at this moment. We are more than 40 people, robbing the cavalry escorted by 300 officers and soldiers, and the top general of Qingzhou, Wu Onghua. If it weren't for Mr. Sun's ingenuity, we wouldn't have even dared to think about it. Did Mr. Sun come up with the ambush plan this time? Ding Wei also became interested. More than 40 members of the mob robbed 300 officers and soldiers, and both weapons and individual qualities were incomparable. This courage alone was admirable, and it was almost successful. Mr. Sun was indeed very skilled. Of course, in Mr. Sun's eyes, the officers and soldiers are just paper. Zhou Tsang spoke up, not seeing Liao Hua winking at him until Liao Hua stomped on him hard before realizing it. Oh. No, he still can't compare to the Lord. Ha. Everyone was amused by Zhou Tsang. Liao Hua. On. You lead the team and wait here to prevent other robbers from snatching the warhorses. Yes. Please rest assured, my lord, there won't be a shortage of war horses. Zhou Tsang leads the way, I will go to meet Mr. Sun and also pick up the elderly, women, and children from the village. Yes. Zhou Tsang agreed, waved his hand, and walked ahead with 10 guards. Ding Wei flipped over and mounted his horse, following Zhou Tsang towards their stronghold. Not long after, a group of more than 10 people arrived at the mountain stronghold of Zhou Tsang. The mountain is not high, but the road is not easy to walk. In some places, there is no road at all, and it is already dark. Ding Wei had to dismount and let 2 people guard his warhorse, Bai Shui. He and 8 guards including Zhou Tsang walked up the mountain. At the top of the mountain, there is a relatively small flat ground with a row of very simple grass houses and 3 campfires burning on it. A few children stood in front of the thatched cottage, with an old man struggling to chop firewood. They had not yet rested. The 2 has brought it back. Someone shouted out. The 2 has brought it back. Many people shouted. Quickly, more than 50 people of all ages and genders rushed out and stood in front of Ding Wei and others, some of whom were still holding their children. These people were all pale and emaciated. Several children looked at Zhou Cang, licking their lips with their tongues. The adults and elderly people also looked at Zhou Cang with dementia and did not speak. But anyone can understand their meaning from their eyes. Is there anything to eat? Zhou Cang, a steel-like man, also shed a few tears in his eyes. These elderly and children were not unwilling to sleep, but were too hungry to sleep. Everyone, come and pay respects to the Lord. The word Lord has no concept for these people, but they still listen to Zhou Cang very much. Farewell to the Lord. Farewell to the Lord. The crowd knelt on the ground, their voices hoarse and weak. Everyone, get up. Thank you, Lord. Everyone stood up. Everyone, listen up, pack up your things quickly, follow the master, and we'll have food to eat. As soon as everyone heard Zhou Cang's words, especially when they said they had food to eat, they became excited and seemed to be filled with infinite power. They immediately ran back to pack their things. At this moment, a person dressed in gray and dressed as a scholar, aged around 25.6, walked out. Is this Mr. Sunday? Sir, I dare not take it for granted. Sun Qian, may I ask who this young master is? Are you Sun Qian? Mr. Gongyou. Ding Wei exclaimed in surprise. Why, this young master knows me. Sun Qian was obviously surprised. He looked closely at Ding Wei and was certain that he had never seen this person before. Oh. Ding Wei knew that his reaction was a bit extreme. Although he often warned himself to be steady in this era, he couldn't help but be excited when he met these historical celebrities, especially today, and in a short while, he met several celebrities from the Liu Bei group. Sun Qian and Sun Gongyou, how could he not know each other? Sun Qian, styled Gongyou, was from Beihai, Qingzhou. Initially valued by the renowned scholar Guixin and adopted as a disciple, it can be said that he was a classmate of Kong Rong. When Liu Bei was working as a pastor in Shuzhou, he heard that Sun Qian was a great talent, so he recruited him to work. After Liu Bei was defeated by Lv Bu, Sun Qian also followed Liu Bei in exile in all directions. In the 5th year of Jianan, Liu Bei betrayed Cao Cao and wanted to unite with Yuan Shao to the north. He then sent Sun Qian as an envoy to form an alliance with Yuan Shao. In the 2nd year, Liu Bei was defeated by Cao Cao and defected to Liu Biao to the south. He also sent Sun Qian and Mu Zhu to meet Liu Biao first, and everything was handled very well. Liu Bei was very satisfied and served as the Left General and Lieutenant General along with Mu Zhu and Jian Yong. Liu Biao once wrote a letter to Yuan Shang, in which he said that whenever he talked to Liu Bei and Sun Qian about the fratricidal relationship between Yuan Shang and Yuan Tan brothers, he felt heartache and sadness, indicating that Sun Qian was highly valued by Liu Biao. Sun Qian's political and diplomatic abilities were top-notch during the Three Kingdoms period, and judging from the ambush he set up, he also had a set of strategies. Mr. Gongyou, I am Ding Wei, a disciple of Kong Xiang from Beihai. I met Kong Qinggong not long ago and he mentioned him, Sun Qian said without any doubt as he moved out of Jingxian. So it's brother Cheng'en, Sun Qian arched his hand. It seems that Ding Wei's name still has some influence in Qingzhou. Gongyou, I'm young. You can just call me by name. Okay, thank you, then I'll entrust it to you. Ha! Both of them smiled at the same time. During the time when everyone was packing up, Ding Wei explained in detail what had happened to Sun Qian. After listening, both of them laughed again. So the two of them began to speak freely, from knowledge to officialdom, from Beihai to Qingzhou, and even Luoyang. They were very close and had a feeling of meeting too late. Ding Wei even wanted to summon Sun Qian under his command for a while, but after careful consideration, he finally dispelled this idea. Because now, firstly, one has no influence, and secondly, the world of the Great Han has not yet gone through the Yellow Turban Rebellion. People's hearts are longing for the Han, and people like Sun Qian cannot join in. Cheng'en, I think we should go now. At this moment, Ding Wei realized that the two of them were too busy talking. It turned out that everyone had already packed their luggage and stood neatly, waiting for his orders. Zhou Tsang, light the torch and set off. Yes. It was already midnight, and it was very dark. People in this era had poor eyesight, but with the threat of hunger and the faint light of torches, they didn't care about walking at night. About half an hour later, they arrived at the forest where Liao Hua and his companions were located. Liao Hua and Han Yong set up a camp and buried the pot to make rice. Yes. With everyone working together, the meal was quickly prepared, and the fragrant smell made everyone salivate after not having eaten enough for a long time. The next noon, Ding Wei ordered everyone to set off. With a command from Liao Hua, 100 soldiers immediately mounted their horses, each with a commanding presence, much stronger than before under the command of Wuan State. Ding Wei believes that if Liao Hua is trained for 3 months, these people can definitely become elite soldiers. Zhou Tsang and his 10 subordinates each had a horse. Ding Wei doesn't want to be like Wu Angua, letting soldiers walk and drive their horses back. In any case, Ding Wei has already decided to hand in 80 or 90 horses to Kong Rong when he goes back. Because Wu Angua has run away, he decides how much to hand in. In the afternoon, the group arrived at Qijuan and bid farewell to Sun Qian and Ding Wei. Sun Qian is going on a study tour, while Ding Wei is returning to Beihai. Although he did not take Sun Qian under his command, Ding Wei was not worried because in history, Sun Qian served very late and only met Liu Bei on the eve of the Battle of Guandu. He was confident that Sun Qian would take the initiative to join. 5 days later, Ding Wei and his group finally arrived at the boundary of Beihai County, but Ding Wei did not go directly to the city. Instead, he came to a small mountain village about 50 miles away from the city. Liao Hua, Zhou Tsang, Han Yong, and 3 others led a team and drove horses into the village, immediately causing a panic among the villagers. At first, they thought it was a bandit who had come and closed their doors. Later, it was discovered that these people did not rob property and knew they were officers and soldiers. So a few people gathered around a civil servant in his 50s who had a refined demeanor and walked towards Ding Wei. "This young master, I am the village chief and clan chief of this Guangjia village. I wonder why the young master came to cover the village with troops." The old man arched his hand to Ding Wei. "Mr. Wang, on the order of Kong Xiang from Beihai County, I am here to find a place to train soldiers and eliminate the bandits in Beihai, ensuring the safety of the territory and the people. We will pay for the local area, and we will also pay for the future food and supplies. As long as Mr. Wang sends people to help take care of these, it will be fine." It should be. The clan leader was very happy when he heard about the training to suppress bandits and the government's funding. Quickly finding a place and preparing some provisions, Ding Wei was very satisfied and left some money and goods for Liao Hua. He explained in detail to Liao Hua and Zhou Tsang about the placement of elderly, weak, women, and children, as well as the training of soldiers. With Han Yong and 10 soldiers, he drove 85 war horses towards the city. Chapter 8. Beihai New Colonel. You are listening at novelfull.audio. On the main hall of the prefect's mansion in Beihai County, there sat Kong Rong, the North Sea Prime Minister. His face was very ugly and he was furious. Sitting next to them were Changshe Sufang and County Magistrate Zhangli, both of whom had a serious expression on their faces. Below them knelt the North Sea Colonel Wu Angua. Originally, after being defeated by Zhou Tsang and Liao Hua, Wu Angua ran all the way and returned to Beihai County 3 days ago. After returning, he encountered difficulties, with over 300 county soldiers and less than 100 people accompanying him. He was not worried about these, but it was normal for him to encounter more than 200 soldiers killed or injured by robbers. Losing 200 war horses is also normal, because Beihai County is short of soldiers. Qingzhou and Yubei are different. Xiongnu and Xianbei people often enter and rob Yubei, with 3,000 soldiers in each county, while most counties in Qingzhou only have a few hundred soldiers. In recent years, bandits have been rampant, and Governor Jiao and the imperial court have petitioned to send troops to suppress them. However, when Emperor Ling of Han wanted to send troops, he had to spend money. Although he used various means to make money, including selling officials, he became unhappy when it came to spending money, so he never paid attention to it. He is a Beihai colonel, but he only has 300 county soldiers under his command. He lost the battle and lost his horses, so it's hard for anyone to say anything. What Wuangua is truly worried about is that Ding Wei has not returned. If Ding Wei dies, he will be in big trouble. Although he had a fight with Ding Wei not long ago and even had a murderous heart, it was a momentary impulse. Now he calmed down and thought about it, still feeling a bit scared. Ding Wei and Wuangua still couldn't afford it. Not to mention that Ding Wei is a disciple of Kong Rong, the Prime Minister of Beihai, and a proud student. The key is that he is the son of Ding Yuan, the governor of Bingzhou. Kong Rong is a gentleman. He can only be punished once, and this matter will pass. However, Ding Yuan is different. He has power, soldiers, and generals. If he comes up with any solution, he can kill him. He can only hope that Ding Wei is okay. But 2 days have passed and Ding Wei hasn't returned yet. He can't stay at home anymore, so he has to grit his teeth and come to see Kong Rong. Wuangua dared not conceal anything and told Kong Rong the entire process in detail, including the conflict between him and Ding Wei. Wuangua, you. Kong Rong was so angry that he trembled all over, unable to speak. Your Highness, I understand my sins. Kong Rong was the Prime Minister of Beihai, but he was in charge of all military and political affairs in Beihai, exercising the power of a prefect. Therefore, everyone called him the prefect. Do you just need to know your guilt? Kong Rong stood up suddenly. 300 soldiers, more than half of them were lost, 200 war horses, all of them were lost, and Cheng'en's life and death are unknown. You. Someone. Here. 2 guards immediately came in from outside. Wuan Kingdom. Report. Suddenly, a soldier burst in panting. Kong Rong was in a fit of anger when he saw someone breaking in. He was furious and said, "Dare, who would let you break in without reporting? Someone, beat this person out with a stick." Sir, I am wrongly accused. Didn't you say there is news about Prince Ding that doesn't need to be reported? The soldier knelt on the ground, trembling. What did you say? There's news of gratitude. Kong Rong was surprised and quickly waved his hand, drinking away the guards who came in. Prince Ding and a dozen county soldiers, escorting 85 warhorses, have already entered the city. Cheng'en has returned with his warhorse. Okay. Kong Rong was a little overwhelmed with joy and kept saying, "Okay," as he walked back and forth in the hall. Kong Xiang, you see, Cheng'en has returned now. Although General Wuan is guilty, he will not die. Changshe Sufang noticed that Kong Rong's anger had suddenly decreased, and took the opportunity to plead with Wuangua. Humph. Kong Rong looked at Wuangua and said, "Wuangua, you can be exempted from death, but you must not be punished. I am demoting you to the rank of captain, with a salary of 6 months. You can accept it." "Thank you, Grand Tutor." "Thank you, Grand Tutor." Wuangua's heart suddenly let go. This demoted official's salary was nothing to him. As long as there is fate, with his title as the top general in Qingzhou, I believe he will soon be reinstated to his original position. I am grateful and keep kowtowing to Kong Rong and Su Fang. Step back. Since Ding Wei became known as a Confucian general with both literary and military skills, Kong Rong no longer had the same respect for Wuangua as before. Let Chang'an come and see me quickly. Not long after, Ding Wei walked in and bowed to Kong Rong, Changsha Sufang, and County Magistrate Zhang Li one by one, neither humble nor arrogant. Kong Rong nodded very satisfied and said, "Thank you, let's talk about what happened." Hui Kong Xiang, the situation is like this. Ding Wei explained the process of the incident in great detail. Of course, the process of being with Wu Onghua can be said to be entirely factual without any processing. But the rest of the story was told according to his ideas. Ding Wei had already planned these processes, and it can be said that they were leak-proof, without any doubt from everyone. Kong Rong was very satisfied with Ding Wei's statement. He looked at Changsha Sufang and then at County Magistrate Zhang Li, and slowly said, "Su Changsha, County Magistrate Zhang, has been demoted in Wuhan State for his crimes, and the position of Beihai Colonel is vacant. In theory, Chang'an is the best candidate with both civil and military skills, but he is still young." How could Zhang Li and Su Fang not understand Kong Rong's words like this? Kong Xiang, Gonluo 12 is the Prime Minister. If you have aspirations, don't be young. Zhang Juncheng is right. Chang'an can definitely become the colonel of Beihai. I am willing to recommend myself to the court along with Kong Xiang and Zhang Juncheng. Since that's the case, Chang'an, you can temporarily assume the position of colonel of Beihai. A few days ago, the court issued an order for our Beihai County to recruit 3,000 soldiers and eliminate bandits. I now order you to recruit 3,000 soldiers within a month, train them into a strong army in 6 months, and eliminate bandits in Beihai in a year. Kong Rong immediately gave an order to Ding Wei. What? Train 3,000 county soldiers. Ding Wei heard this command and his heart immediately burst into joy. It's like someone gave pillows as soon as he fell asleep. He was thinking about how to have his own army when the Yellow Turban Rebellion broke out next year. It took him a lot of effort to pull up more than 100 people. Now that Kong Rong suddenly gave himself an army of 3,000 people, could he not be excited? Although these 3,000 people are still empty, in this era, many people cannot even afford to eat. It is not easy to recruit soldiers to eat food, and there is also support from the government. There is no need to worry about training, such as Liao Hua, Zhou Tsang, Han Yong, and others. Chang'an, are there any difficulties? Kong Rong saw that Ding Wei's face changed restlessly after listening to his command, and he didn't speak, feeling a bit unhappy. Oh. Ding Wei finally woke up from a dream. Please rest assured, Kong Xiang and the 2 adults. 1 year from now, I guarantee that there will be no more bandits in Beihai. Okay. Kong Rong saw Ding Wei's expression and was very happy. You will negotiate with Mr. Su and Mr. Zhang about money, food, weapons, and armor in the future. Please rest assured, Kong Xiang. I will fully cooperate with Captain Ding to drive out the bandits in Beihai. Ding Wei left the prefect's mansion and did not return to his residence. With more than a dozen guards including Han Yong, he quickly arrived at Wangjia village and immediately brought Liao Hua and Zhou Tsang to tell them Kong Rong's orders. Everyone was very happy to hear this. He recruited 3,000 soldiers, so the 3 of them were all generals in command. With an army, it would be much easier to suppress bandits. Can they still be far away from achieving meritorious service and being granted titles? Ding Wei assigned tasks to the 3, while Zhou Tsang stayed in Wangjia village to continue training these 100 soldiers. Han Yong took Ding Wei's handwritten book and went to find the county magistrate Zhang Li to escort the provisions, weapons, and armor here. Wangjia village is only about 50 miles away from Beihai County, making it a great place for military training. Ding Wei had already chosen this place half a month ago. Liao Hua is responsible for recruiting soldiers and should be between the ages of 18 and 30. My lord, the age limit is within this range. I'm afraid there aren't many people who meet the requirements. Can we relax it a bit? Liao Hua was a bit worried. The key to success lies not in the abundance of soldiers, but in their excellence. It is not easy to train an elite army. If one is too old, they cannot fight for many years. After the Yellow Turban Rebellion next year, this great Han will be in name only, and the struggle for power among feudal lords will be a chaotic battle for decades. Of course, Ding Wei could not explain these to Liao Hua. If there are not enough recruits here, you can go to a farther place. There are more than 10 counties in Beihai County, and it is still possible to recruit 3,000 soldiers. Yes, my lord, I will definitely follow my lord's request and recruit 3,000 soldiers as soon as possible. After arranging these, Ding Wei brought 2 more guards and hurried towards Donglai. Because he has another important matter, which is to recruit his sworn brother Taisher Ci. Donglai and Beihai are adjacent, and in about 3 hours, Ding Wei arrived at the boundary of Donglai. Upon inquiry, Taisher is still very famous here, with exceptional martial courage and righteousness. In addition, he is a famous filial son, which many people know. However, their place of residence was very remote, and by the time Ding Wei found it, the sun had already set. Big brother, big brother. Taisher was extremely happy when he saw Ding Wei and rushed over. Second brother. Ding Wei immediately dismounted and ran over. Ha! The two of them tightly grasped each other's hand and laughed happily. That was a heartfelt laughter, without any falsehood. Taisher Ci was Ding Wei's first friend in this era, and he did not have the hypocrisy of future people's interactions. Everything was so sincere. For Taisher, Ding Wei was his highly respected elder brother. Although he came from a noble family and his father was a high-ranking official like the governor of Bingzhou, he did not have any arrogance and was like his own brother. Zi, is this Cheng'en? They only focused on their own happiness. Taisher Ci's mother had actually been out for a while, and she had been observing Ding Wei. Although Taisher Ci's mother did not come from a noble family, she was still considered a scholarly family. Ever since she learned that her son Taisher Ci and Ding Wei had formed a sworn alliance with Jin Lan, she has always had a hint of worry in her heart. Although she believes that her son is absolutely excellent and will definitely be able to make achievements and become Ding Wei's sworn brother in the future with her own abilities. However, he is the son of the governor of Bingzhou and a disciple of Kong Rong, the prime minister of Beihai, so the difference in background is too great. In this era of aristocratic rule, the children of humble families never hold any status, and what about their son forming a sworn alliance with him? In front of Ding Wei, isn't it still impossible to lift your head for a lifetime? Perhaps he is just a chess piece of Ding Wei. She originally wanted her son to have as little contact as possible with Ding Wei, but when she saw her son mention his big brother Ding Wei, he looked excited, so she couldn't bear to hurt him. Today, she observed for a while and found that Ding Wei was indeed different from the children of other aristocratic families. His language was sincere, and his laughter was also sincere. She didn't look down on her son at all, so she felt relieved and happy that his son could make such a brother. In law. Chapter 9. The First Construction of the Army. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Mother, he is the big brother Ding Wei that I often mention to you. Taisher Ci happily took Ding Wei's hand and came to his mother. The child pays respects to the mother. Ding Wei knelt down on both knees and bowed deeply to the old lady Taisher. Cheng'en, good child, get up quickly. Mrs. Taisher smiled and reached out to help Ding Wei Shu. Thank you, mother. In the Eastern Han Dynasty, filial piety was used to govern the world, and ancient people placed great emphasis on righteousness. Ding Wei and Taisher Ci became brothers with different surnames. Therefore, Taisher Ci's mother was Ding Wei's mother. If Taisher Ci died, Ding Wei would have to take care of her. After the death of Taisher Lao Fu, Ding Wei would have to be buried and observe filial piety, and vice versa. I often hear my son Yi mention it, and today I see that Cheng'en is indeed extraordinary and will definitely become a pillar of the country in the future. The old lady of the grand historian was pleased and moved to see Ding Wei's respect for her, and was even more satisfied with her son's alliance with Ding Wei. "Mother, I have been praised too much." Ding Wei was pleased to see Lady Taisher and knew that his goal had been achieved. "Mother, my child came today to ask for the help of his second younger brother." "Big brother, since you're a brother, the word help is a big deal." Tai Shirzi was a bit unhappy. "If there's anything, big brother just needs to speak up." "Yes, Ching'en, just say it." "No matter what, Z will definitely do his best to handle it," said the old lady with a smile. "It's like this, I was recommended by Kong Xiang as the colonel of Beihai. The court now orders me to recruit 3,000 soldiers from the county, and 1 year later, I will eliminate all bandits in Beihai. I am weak and deeply responsible, so I want my second brother to be my military commander and train together to suppress bandits." Ding Wei briefly explained his purpose. Training soldiers and suppressing bandits. Upon hearing these words, Tai Shirzi's face immediately showed an excited expression, but then slowly disappeared. Ding Wei glanced at Tai Shirzi. Of course he knew what Tai Shirzi was worried about. Because Tai Shirzi is a famous filial son, in this era, people believed in the belief that parents are here, not far away. This place is still far from Beihai County, and Tai Shirzi cannot rest assured of his mother. However, Ding Wei had already made arrangements for this matter. This big brother. Tai Shirzi hesitated a bit. Ding Wei was about to speak when the grand historian spoke first. "Z, kneel down." Mrs. Taisher's tone was very stern. Tai Shirzi was surprised and quickly knelt down. "Mother, the child's unfilial behavior has angered the mother." "Z, how does my mother usually teach you?" "She teaches you to learn literature, practice martial arts, and understand loyalty, righteousness, benevolence, and filial piety. Before your father died, he asked me to raise you to adulthood, make contributions, and honor your ancestors. Now, Ching'an has invited you to become a military commander, Yu Gong. This is for the stability of the people's lives in Beihai, and it is a major matter for the court. For personal gain, it is your elder brother who invites you to help. You cannot refuse whether you are public or private, but you are hesitant. What is the reason? Are you greedy for life and afraid of death, and dare not face bandits?" Ding Wei now understands that Tai Shirzi has achieved such success. It seems that Tai Shirlao Madam is not an ordinary person. He couldn't help but think of a saying from later generations. Behind a successful man, there is always a great woman. Although the status of women in this era is very low, their role cannot be ignored. "Mother, it's not that the child doesn't want it, but the child can't trust their mother." "Z, you are confused. Since ancient times, loyalty and filial piety cannot be balanced. It seems that I have implicated you for my mother's sake. All right, I will settle it on my own and let you have no worries." After the Taisher old lady finished speaking, she turned around and went to retrieve the sword hanging on the wall. "Mother, listen to me. The child has already made arrangements." Ding Wei quickly stopped the old lady Taisher. "The child has found a quiet place in Beihai City. Mother and Z can go together, and Z doesn't have to stay in the military camp often. Moreover, our military training place is only about 50 miles away from Beihai, and we will arrive in 2 hours by Kuishma. Really, big brother, that would be great. Mom, let's move over, so I can rest assured." When it comes to leading troops to fight, Tai Shirzi is happy in his heart. Ching'an is really thoughtful. Mrs. Taisher smiled. She was just scaring her son just now. The next day, the mother and son of Tai Shirzi packed their things, and Ding Wei had someone buy a cart nearby and hired someone to rush back to Beihai City. For the new home, both Tai Shirzi and Tai Shirlao Madam were very satisfied, and the family also found several maids and servants. Everything was arranged properly, and Ding Wei Kai and Tai Shirzi rushed to Wangjia village. 20 days later, Liao Hua had already recruited 3,000 soldiers. When Ding Wei and Tai Shizi went to see it, Liao Hua had already made them stand neatly on the school field. Ding Wei looked at this oppressive group of people and felt extremely excited. This is the soldiers he will gallop across the world in the future, how can it not make people excited? Liao Hua, Zhou Tsang, Han Yong, and Tai Shizi were also very excited. Those who practiced martial arts all had dreams of commanding troops to fight and becoming generals. Brothers, you are all men of Qingzhou. But now, Qingzhou is full of robbers. They kill your parents, rob your property, and rape your sisters. Are you still bloody? Ding Wei saw that these soldiers are still strong, but their spirit is not good. Many people have dull eyes, so he wanted to stimulate their morale. Sure enough, after Ding Wei finished speaking, many people raised their heads, with sparks of anger in their eyes. I know, you want to say that suppressing bandits is the responsibility of the court, the governor and the prefects, not yours. Then I will tell you now that the court has appointed me as the colonel of Beihai, trained 3,000 soldiers, and in 1 year, we will eliminate all bandits in Beihai. From today on, I will eat with you, live in the military camp, and in the future, we will eliminate bandits, serve the court and make contributions. You must have confidence and courage. Follow Captain Ding, eliminate bandits, serve the court, and make contributions. Han Yong shouted. Eliminate bandits, serve the court, and make contributions. 3,000 people shouted in unison, their voices shaking the sky. Han Yong did indeed come out of the army, he is indeed clever and can be made. Ding Wei nodded at Han Yong with satisfaction. Okay, now I announce the appointment. Ding Wei finished speaking and immediately fell silent. Liao Hua, Zhou Tsang, Han Yong, Tai Shizi, and others were all excited. Tai Shizi, I appoint you as the former commander of the army, commanding 200 cavalry. First, you choose 200 soldiers who can ride horses from these 3,000 soldiers. Ding Wei gathered all the horses, and there happened to be more than 200, so he decided to form 200 cavalry. Yes. Tai Shizi shouted and bowed to Ding Wei, standing aside. Although there are a few soldiers, they are cavalry. In this era, 200 cavalry is equivalent to 2,000 infantry. Han Yong, listen. Here. Han Yong stood out and bowed very respectfully to Ding Wei. I appoint you as the commander of the rear army, commanding 1,000 spearmen. Respected orders. Han Yong tried to suppress his excitement and took orders. How can one not be excited to be promoted from an ordinary soldier to a military commander at once? Liao Hua, listen to the order. On. I appoint you as the left army Sima, commanding 1,000 shield soldiers. Respected orders. Zhou Tsang obeys orders. On. I appoint you as the commander of the guards, commanding 500 guards and skilled swordsmen. Zhou Tsang has average military command ability, but is loyal and brave, so Ding Wei will always keep him by his side. Moreover, he had heard of the school swordsman from later generations and was unaware of the specific situation, so he appointed him first before proceeding. In ancient times, during battles, commanders would often charge and kill without close bodyguards. Yes, Your Highness. Zhou Tsang excitedly spoke incoherently. The position of right army marshal is vacant for now, and Ding Wei is preparing to build another flying feather camp in the future, which will be the bow and crossbow soldiers. There are still more than 300 people left, so we need to train ourselves first and wait until we have a candidate for the Grand General. After the transmission was completed, Ding Wei instructed each general to bring his own troops, bring provisions, weapons, clothing, and armor, and train at the designated place. As for the official positions such as commander, army commander, and centurion, they were determined through martial arts competitions and other methods, and finally reported to him. A few days later, Ding Wei was busy with applying for official positions, allocating food and supplies, drafting military laws, and formulating reward and punishment systems. He really needs a clerk or something now. But in this era, it's not easy to find someone who can read and write. He thought of Sun Qian, but couldn't find him and had no choice. So Ding Wei had to train his flying feather camp during the day and check on the training of others, and then work on paperwork at night. Fortunately, Tai Shizi, Liao Hua and others worked very hard, and they all had great experience in military training. In addition, Ding Wei occasionally added some modern ideological theories and methods, which impressed a few people and greatly enhanced the military's combat effectiveness. Since moving into the military camp, Kong Rong has rarely disturbed Ding Wei. Unconsciously, 3 months have passed. The weather has completely warmed up in May, and the training of new recruits has also shown initial results. Whether it is individual combat or coordinated combat, everything has taken shape. At this point, Ding Wei truly realized the importance of talent. The abilities of Tai Shizi and Liao Hua were indeed good. Under their command, during the drill, the entire team advanced and retreated smoothly, with orderly attack and defense. Han Yong and Zhou Tsang can only be said to be average. However, those centurions are far behind. Most of them are worthless, just stronger or more courageous than others. It's okay to follow orders, but commanding operations is really not enough. In this era, there are often examples of victories with fewer soldiers. This is because once a commander dies in battle, no matter how many soldiers there are, they will become scattered sand and collapse without fighting. It seems that changing this phenomenon is not an easy task. Recently, Ding Wei has arranged everything in the camp properly, so he often participates in soldier training. One is to grasp the combat strength of each battalion of soldiers, and the other is to establish an image. To put it selfishly, he wants the soldiers to only know him, not the court, and only fight for him in the future. Ding Wei looked at these soldiers as their combat capabilities continued to improve. However, during this period, he always felt that something was missing. What exactly is missing? In his previous life, he was just a college student, and his understanding of the military was limited to film and television materials. It can be said that he knew nothing about the military camp, so he didn't know what was missing. Lord, if we continue to practice like this, we won't be able to fight in real combat. They must see blood. As Ding Wei is very easy going to his subordinates, Liao Hua, who has always been cautious in his words and actions, will also give him advice. Seeing blood. Ding Wei suddenly realized. Yes, Yuan Jian was right. Our soldiers still lack a killing spirit, and this killing spirit can only be cultivated on the battlefield, in life and death battles. Training alone is not enough. So, a plan formed in Ding Wei's mind. Chapter 10. The curtain of suppressing bandits opens. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ding Wei established a scout battalion of 10 people from the very beginning, carefully selected from 300 soldiers. The first step was to be literate, because these people would definitely need to transmit intelligence, draw maps, be clever, brave, and have strong individual combat abilities in the future. He plans to build a large team of meticulous crafting based on these 10 people in the future. In this era, many generals did not realize the importance of intelligence, but Ding Wei understood that it was the key to victory or defeat. He asked these 10 people to go down separately, each looking for another 10 people from various industries, as long as they have a certain skill. Each of these 10 people was given hardware as activity funds. Of course, these 10 people have been repeatedly examined by him and are absolutely loyal. Otherwise, if they run away with the money, Ding Wei would have suffered a huge loss. Hardware was the annual living expenses of an ordinary family at that time. The first task is to quickly understand the banditry situation in Beihai. Of course, he only assigned this task to 2 people, and the other 10 people were sent to other counties in Qingzhou. He named these 10 people Yin Feng. At present, only Ding Wei knows the identities of these people. Externally, they may be farmers in the fields, bartenders in taverns, or servants of a large family. These people also lived up to their expectations. In a short period of time, the two hidden wind personnel in charge of Beihai had a clear understanding of the situation of the various robbers in Beihai and reported it to Ding Wei. Of course, in this era, people's awareness of confidentiality is too low, and the espionage work that Ding Wei felt very difficult to do was surprisingly easy. After summarizing and organizing these intelligence, Ding Wei ordered 4 generals including Tai Shirzi, Yao Hua, Han Yong, and Zhou Tsang to be summoned. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been training soldiers for 3 months now. Only by pulling them to the battlefield can we see what's going on. Therefore, I have decided to start suppressing bandits from now on, using war as a substitute for training. Big brother, let me bring 200 cavalry to ensure that one charge can eliminate the robbers. As soon as they heard that there was going to be war, all 4 of them were excited, and Tai Shirzi was the first to snatch the credit. Lord, the robbers are all hiding in the mountains and forests, which is not conducive to cavalry charging. Let my sword and shield soldiers go, ensuring that none of the robbers can escape. Liao Hua did not show weakness, and his reasons were sufficient. Yuan Jian, you're not right about that. What does it mean that it's not conducive to cavalry charging? My cavalry got off the horse, so they are still stronger than your sword and shield soldiers. Tai Shirzi was a bit angry. You should know that in this era, a cavalry's expenditure of money and food is about equivalent to 5 to 10 infantry, because war horses must eat refined food. If you eat grass, it is easy to lose weight and gain fat, so you need to add seasoning at night. When soldiers are not in battle, their food will be reduced, but their horses dare not. The entire Beihai county is struggling to support over 200 cavalry. Although Ding Wei was a proud disciple of the Northern Sea Prime Minister, he couldn't ask for too much. If there were too many officials and county officials, they would think that Ding Wei was greedy for money and food. Therefore, Ding Wei's second goal in suppressing bandits was to make some money. Cavalry is precious, but the role of cavalry is significant. These 200 cavalry are used well, equivalent to 2,000 or 3,000 infantry. Therefore, cavalry has superiority, and cavalry commanders have a sense of superiority. Liao Hua said that suppressing bandits was not conducive to cavalry operations, and of course, Tai Shirzi was not happy. If your cavalry doesn't ride horses, I'll give you 200 shield soldiers to compete with. Liao Hua and Tai Shirzi have a good relationship on a regular basis, but no one will back down on this issue. Ding Wei didn't immediately stop them, so the generals must have this kind of courage. Just compare. Tai Shirzi said without hesitation, Lord, let me compare with Yuan Jian's soldiers. Whoever wins, let him go and suppress the bandits. Tai Shirzi called Ding Wei the Lord for the first time, but Ding Wei was still a bit uncomfortable. However, Tai Shirzi was very natural because everyone called him the Lord. In formal occasions, Tai Shirzi felt it was not good to call him Big Brother again. Yuan Jian, don't argue yet, listen to me. The two stopped arguing. There are a total of 3 bandits near Beihai, and the closest one to us is about 150 people, led by the wandering bandit Wang Qi, located in the southern part of Luan. Most of them are bandits from various places. Wang Qi is ruthless and his subordinates are all fugitives. They mainly rob passing merchant caravans and also small aristocratic families. Ding Wei began to introduce. The second group is near Qi County, led by Li Zhong. He used to be a centurion and served in the army in Shanggu. Later, he made a mistake and fled to Qi County. He and a group of people occupied the mountains as kings. There are now about 200 people, many of whom are fleeing soldiers and a few are refugees, about 200 miles away from us. The third group is between Beihai and Donglai, led by Chao Heihu. I think everyone has heard of this, because they are the most harmful to Beihai, claiming to have thousands of people, but only 500 soldiers can actually fight. This is the situation of banditry around Beihai. After Ding Wei finished speaking, everyone showed admiration in their eyes. The Lord is truly a divine being. If we know ourselves and our enemies so well, we will definitely achieve a complete victory. Liao Hua admired from the bottom of his heart. Yes, yes. In warfare, we must first consider defeat and then victory. No matter how powerful an enemy is, we must have the confidence to defeat them. No matter how small, we cannot underestimate them until we eliminate them. Everyone will become a commanding general in the future, and we must remember this. Ding Wei took the opportunity to show off some modern theories. Yes, Lord, everyone exclaimed excitedly, as they could sense Ding Wei's ambition in his heart. Only if the Lord has such ambition, can they have greater space. Follow my orders below. With Ding Wei's command, there was an immediate silence in the handsome tent. Taisher Ci, I have instructed you to lead 200 iron cavalry to annihilate the Lizhong tribe near Qi County. Yes. Taisher Ci's face was full of excitement and he proudly glanced at Liao Hua. Liao Hua, I have instructed you to lead 200 shield soldiers to annihilate Wang Qi's troops. Yes. Liao Hua, who had just been somewhat disappointed, immediately regained his energy and spoke louder than Taisher Ci. Zhou Tsang and Han Yong, have you two each appoint 100 skilled swordsmen, 100 long spearmen, and an additional 100 flying feather soldiers, and follow me to eliminate Chao Heihu. Yes. Both of them took orders at the same time. Lord, it's a bit rare to only bring such a small number of troops, isn't it, Chao Heihu? Zhou Tsang, I didn't expect that you are usually fearless, but today you are afraid of a Chao Heihu. Ding Wei knew that Zhou Tsang was really worried about his own safety, but he didn't say it out loud and deliberately provoked Zhou Tsang. Lord, how could Zhou Tsang be afraid of that Chao Heihu? Even if I don't bring one soldier, I dare to break into his stronghold. Zhou Tsang's anger suddenly rose. Okay. Ding Wei was very happy. Remember, as a general, you not only need to be brave, but also have a plan. The best strategy is to defeat the enemy's army without fighting. Let's call for troops today and set off tomorrow. Yes. Later, Ding Wei made detailed requirements for the prisoners of war, money, and other resources obtained by everyone in the suppression of bandits. This time, Ding Wei felt that there should be no problem winning the battle. The key was to win beautifully and demonstrate good military discipline. The next day at dawn, there was a commotion in the Wangjia village. 200 cavalry of Taisher Ci had already set off, and his destination was the farthest. This was the main reason why Ding Wei sent him there. The deafening sound of horse hooves caused many early villagers to watch. Although everyone knew that Beihai County was training soldiers here, it was still suppressed by the majestic momentum of the cavalry. Everyone was amazed. On the training ground, Liao Hua carefully selected 200 soldiers from 1,000 shield soldiers, each of whom was strong and energetic, and occasionally looked proudly at the 800 who were not selected. Liao Hua was very satisfied. He waved his hand and immediately a centurion stepped out and struck the shield 3 times with a knife. Victory! 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 200 people spoke in unison, and the entire village heard it. The nearby valley echoed incessantly. Let's go! Liao Hua gave an order and urged the horse to walk at the front, with 200 people following closely behind, galloping in the opposite direction to Taisher Ci. Ding Wei was not in a hurry to start. He now fully understood the characteristics of these generals under his command. Taisher Ci was a brave and competitive person, but he was not calm enough and needed further training. Although Liao Hua's martial arts skills are slightly inferior to those of Taisher Ci, he has strong leadership abilities, courage, and attention to detail. He is a good vanguard candidate in the future. There are no great generals in Shu, and Liao Hua's words as a vanguard are not in vain. Han Yong's ability to command troops and military force are inferior to those of the grand historian Siha and Liao Hua. However, he is very calm and never strives for credit. He always handles orders in an orderly manner. After being trained, he will become a talent in logistics. Now that he can see the battle, he will be the best candidate to escort food and forage in the future. Although Zhou Cang has a strong competitive heart, he is very loyal. Since becoming the commander of the guards, he has hardly left Ding Wei's figure. Ding Wei was very satisfied with the performance of these people. Now, looking at the 100 elite soldiers of Han Yong and Zhou Cang each, he was full of fighting spirit, and the 100 flying feather soldiers he had trained were also not weak. His heart was even more satisfied. Eliminating these bandits will be very easy for him. There is no doubt that he will win this three-way attack. The key is to let these teams see the difference between training and actual combat. At the same time, it is also necessary to test the ability of the commanding general to compare who suffered less losses and gained more. In this crackdown on bandits, Ding Wei only allocated 3 days of rations to each team, which means that within 3 days, the bandit strongholds must be conquered, otherwise there will be a shortage of food. After the conquest, all property must be registered, and the food and forage consumed by oneself must also be registered. Soldiers must be given 3 rules and regulations. No disturbance to the people, no killing of prisoners, and no rape of women. These must be used as the basis for each team's victory. When Ding Wei set off, he temporarily left Han Yong in Wangjia village and was responsible for all matters related to the remaining 2,700 soldiers. Although Han Yong was unable to suppress the bandits, he was very happy to see Ding Wei guarding his home and knowing that Ding Wei had made him his confidant. At noon, Ding Wei Kai and 300 soldiers marched out of Wangjia village and headed northeast towards Chao Heihu's lair. Heihu Mountain. Chao Heihu, originally named Chao Ergu, had a relatively wealthy family when he was young, but his father died unexpectedly, causing the family's fortunes to decline rapidly. The fields were taken by the neighboring Zhang family, and his mother became Zhang's mistress. In a fit of anger, Chao Ergu went to kill old Zhang, but not only did he fail, he was caught and beaten to half-death. In the end, he escaped with the help of his mother. Later, he and a group of people occupied the mountains as kings, killed and set fire to all evil deeds, and the bandit name spread far and wide in this area. As Ding Wei walked, he recalled Yin Feng's report on Chao Heihu's situation and constantly pondered on strategies to deal with it.